Hey everyone, it's Matt from Surf City TCG here, bringing you a video on Zimone Mystery Unraveler. This is the Precon commander from Duskmourn, the one that I chose for our EDH league. So if you didn't see my videos on Miss Bumbleflower from Bloomborough, go and check those out. I'll link them here. But basically what we're doing is my real life pod is each starting off with one of the commanders from Duskmourn. Mine is Zimone, and we're going to be allowed minimal number of upgrades and budget every week for 4 weeks. So starting off with the base level precon with no changes, for which I've already posted a video for that. So check it out. I'll link it here. But then now what I'm going to be doing in this video is talking about the changes that I want to make and the restrictions that I have. So I'm allowed to change up to 10 cards maximum, and I'm allowed up to $10 of budget using prices from TCGplayer low via Moxfield. So you can set up your settings in Moxfield by going into advanced, I think. And I don't know where it is, but you can play around and find it. I think it's in settings. Let's see. Somewhere where you can set the pricing, and then what you can do is you can go to more and update to cheapest, hit continue, and it's going to change all the versions of every card in your deck to the lowest cost version. So of course we don't need to do that on the regular deck because we get all the cards that the deck started with, but any cards I'm considering adding are independent of the cards that I'm removing. So even if I remove a card that is $10, I don't get to add any extra money. So I get $10 maximum of cards to add, and I can add a maximum of 10. And then I also get one free land, which is going to be very important for this deck because this is a landfall deck and it really wants fetch lands. So before I get into it, let's start by talking about what this commander does and what this deck's looking to do, where I feel like its strengths are, where its weaknesses are, and as such, what are the opportunities and threats related to those things. So Zimone is a 4-mana 3/3. She's a legendary human wizard. She's got the ability of landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, I find it interesting that they removed from the battlefield line, I guess to jam even more words on these cards. They now just say every new card now just says enters. So when a land enters, manifest dread. If this is the first time the ability is resolved this turn, otherwise, meaning if it's the second, third, or more time, you may turn a permanent you control face up. So there's a lot to unpack here. Let's talk about each little piece. So first of all, what is Manifest Dread? This is a new mechanic from Duskmourn. And it's got the reminder text on here, but basically what you do is you're going to look at the top 2 cards of your library, and you're going to, you don't have to show those to anyone. You're going to pick one of them that becomes a face down creature. This is just like the manifest ability. It takes the top card of your library, manifest, and puts it as a face down 2/2 creature that is just a vanilla creature with no creature type, no color. And if it is a creature, you can pay its mana value, or mana cost rather, to flip it at any time. So let's say I manifest a Curator Beastie. I could pay 6 mana at instant speed to flip it over, and it's a Curator Beastie now instead of a 2/2 vanilla colorless creature. One thing to note about flipping things is that you don't get ETBs. So, for example, Curator Beastie has an ETB. It says when it enters or when it attacks. So we still get the attack trigger, but when it enters, we get to Manifest Dread. But if we flip it over, we don't get that enters trigger. So that can be both good and bad. I think there are some cards in here that kind of try to abuse that. One that I can think of off the top of my head is Scab Ruinator. So this has an additional cost, right? Which is requires you to exile 3 creatures from your graveyard. But if you flip it, you don't have to pay that cost because you're not casting it, right? But also things that have negative ETBs. The only example I can think of off the top of my head, I'm sure there's tons, but it's Phyrexian Dreadnought. This is a card that is actually pretty good in this deck, but I'm probably not going to be adding it unless we end up getting a free card later. But it's this 1 mana 12/12. This is a reserved list card too, which is why it's so expensive. It's a 1 mana 12/12, but when it enters, you have to sack creatures total power 12 or more, or destroy this. There are lots of ways to get around this ETB trigger. Like you can just stifle it. You can have things that turn off ETBs. If your opponent has an Elesh Norn Mother of Machines in play, you can play Phyrexian Dreadnought as a 1 mana 12/12, so that's pretty funny. Anyway, like the point is that you can consider cards like this when you're building the deck, because it's an interesting like way to work around this sort of downside. So that is a little bit about what Manifest Dread does. I guess let me finish explaining. So you look at the top two, you get to pick one of those to become your manifest, and the other one goes to your graveyard. So it's both creating a face down 2/2 colorless creature for you. It's not a token. A lot of people might think it is, but it's not. It's an actual card. It's just face down. And then the other card goes to your graveyard. So everyone does see that one. So we can play around with some graveyard synergy. We might consider stuff like flashback or, various other mechanics that function out of the graveyard, but we don't have black, so we can't really abuse this as much as we might be able to if this was a Sultai commander, for example. So I think the way we want to build this deck, and sorry, let's just finish talking about the abilities. So the first time you manifest Dread, anytime you play a land, right? Then the second time you landfall in a turn, so obviously that's a lot more difficult to do because you can only play one land a turn. So the easiest ways are to play a ramp spell, something that puts a land into play like a Rampant Growth, or to play a fetch land, something like Evolving Wilds. You play this land, it triggers your first landfall, and then you sacrifice it to get a basic land. It comes in tapped, but you don't care because that land entering tapped still counts as your second landfall. So now you can immediately flip the manifest card that you manifested from the first landfall. The interesting thing about flipping manifested cards is so with manifest, you have to pay the cost to flip it if it's a creature, right? But if it's not a creature, if it's an enchantment or an instant or anything that's not a creature, you don't have any way to naturally flip it. However, Zimone gives you a way to do that. Now, if you flip a spell like an instant or sorcery, it's just going to go to the graveyard. Like, it doesn't do anything. You don't get to cast it, none of that. But if you flip an enchantment or an artifact or a battle or a planeswalker or anything, any other permanent, or a creature for that matter, any permanent just flips and now you have it. So if you're thinking, well, I'm just going to put Omniscience in my deck and then manifest Dread it and then flip it over, and now I have an Omniscience in play. Well, then you're thinking the right way. That's what we're going to do. Maybe not that exactly, depends on our budget, but like we want to figure out all of the broken and fun and crazy stuff we can do with this ability. And I suspect that a lot of that is going to involve getting, cheating out some huge creatures. And there's one in the deck already. I actually did this in my game, but it ended up getting copied or stolen or something. But yeah, like you can just jam your deck full of giant creatures. You can put in huge enchantments, like lots of fun, big, splashy stuff, and then just boom, landfall twice and you're flipping. So Zimone's very, very powerful. I suspect this is going to be one of, if not the strongest deck, one fully upgraded. Now, given the limited budget I'm going to have in this series, I don't know how far we can really go with it. But there are a lot of good options, and I'm going to enjoy exploring the possibilities here and trying to figure out what the best ways to go with this. So looking at this commander, the first few things I'm thinking are, first of all, it's a 4-mana 3/3 with no protection. They say every card has ward now. Well, Zimone doesn't. Sad. But, none of the commanders have ward except for Valgavoth, and his ward is basically nothing. It's just like, they have to pay 2 life. Yeah, Valgavoth's ward, like it's not bad because it does trigger his ability, so you get to draw, but none of these commanders have innate protection. So that's something that I want to be on guard about, because once, if the deck's working how I want it to be, people are going to want to be removing Zimone. So I do want to have some innate ways to protect her. And there are some in the deck already, but we're going to look at kind of the deck stats in a moment. I just want to talk about what I observed just from reading her. So she's a 3/3, which is pretty weak. She has landfall, obviously, so we do care about lands. We're gonna like want to emphasize stuff that, especially that can put 2 lands into play. Like if the deck didn't already have something like Myriad Landscape, this is the perfect land for this deck because it just triggers both of her landfalls right away in one fell swoop. So stuff like this is great. Stuff like Sky Shroud Claim is going to be very high priority to get in this deck. 4 mana spell, find 2 forests, put them on the battlefield. Amazing card in any green deck already. Extra good in this deck, right? So I think some of the initial upgrades are going to very much be focused on so-called quote-unquote vegetables, just like let's make sure that we've got all the fetch lands we can get. Now, obviously with a $10 budget, we can't put in any of the real fetch lands like, Flooded Strand, Misty Rainforest, all of those are we are going to get 1 free land. So I'm going to be for sure adding Misty Rainforest with that free land. It's going to be by far the best land, the best single upgrade that we can have for the deck. But I think in the first week where I only have 10 cards and $10, I'm also going to want to focus on getting other fetch lands in here. Ones that are not normally that good, but are extremely good in this deck. Like cards like Evolving Wilds and Terramorphic Expanse, I wouldn't normally touch these with a 10-foot pole, but they're very good in this deck. Surprisingly good. So I would be adding them if they weren't already here. And as such, I'm going to be looking for similar options just like these. And I'll show you guys how to look for those. I already have a lot of the stuff I'm considering down here, but I'm going to show you a little bit about how to use EDH Rack and how to look for those things in case you want to explore the options yourself. So that's a little of what I want to do with the deck. Let's spend just a few minutes looking at, so I've already gone through and added custom types and tags so we can see how like the categorizations look in terms of the major things that we have in this deck, like the removal, the mana and ramp, the board wipes, the protection. These are the things I care about, and like draw engines. Those are the like main categories that I really am concerned with. And let's switch over and take a look. So here's our types and tags. Now there are a lot in here, like, and some like the +1 counter synergy we don't really care so much about. They're here just because I've tagged them as such because they do matter, and these tags carry over to other decks, so this can be very relevant. But we're really just going to look at a few. Number one is removal. We have 6 pieces of removal right now. This is not counting board wipes. I do usually categorize those separately. So we've got three board wipes, 6 pieces of removal. 3 board wipes is solid. 6 pieces of pinpoint removal is pretty low. I might look to bolster this up to 10 once the deck is like fully built the way we want it to be. Starting with 6, not great, but it's passable. And then mana and ramp, we've got 19. This is great. This is where I kind of want it to be at in the end, which is really good for us. It means that we don't have to spend a lot of our early effort on bolstering this up. We could instead look at like optimizing some of the stuff in here. Getting it up to 20 wouldn't be bad because it's so important that we be landfalling so frequently. But really, I want to look at bolstering the deck's weaknesses versus just like adding even more to this where it's already pretty solid. Counters and protection, I do separate these protection spells being stuff like, so we only have one, and this one is like not even a true protection spell. It just kind of lets us manifest more stuff when our stuff dies. Not exactly what we're looking for. What I would love it would be if there was like a heroic intervention in this deck, or a perennial favorite of mine is Slip Out the Back. That's going to be one I'm looking to add ASAP, maybe even the first week. It's just a 1 mana blue spell that phases out a creature, and it's great because it's super flexible. It can save your commander from a board wipe. It can save it from a farewell even. It can save it from a cyclonic rift. No other protection spell quite gives you that sort of like level of protection because phasing is so weird and specific. But you can also use it as like pinpoint removal spell. So, someone plays a Drannith Magistrate and you're like, oh my god, what do I do? How do I get my commander out? Well, if you have Slip Out the Back, you can phase that boy out play your commander, and then who cares when it phases back in, right? Because your commander's already in play. So Slip Out the Back's one I love. We want to look to add more protection spells, and then counters in blue decks kind of function like protection spells too, right? If you counter their Wrath of God, then you've protected your board. So having a couple counters only in a blue deck seems a little low. I typically like to have somewhere between 4 and 8, depending on the deck. So we're going to want to look to increase that. So what I'm going to do is actually just jot down some notes. Okay, so I just pulled up Notepad. I'm just going to write myself some quick notes about like what I'm talking through here. So we've already got a good amount focus on optimizing. We've got removal. Board wipes are okay. Spot removal, 6, a bit low. And then we've got counters, 2, low. Protection, 0, 0.5. Need more. Our protection is not sufficient here. Our commander's 4 mana. She has no protection. She has low toughness, and she is dangerous. So opponents are going to want to kill her. Now, thankfully, like all of the commanders in these precon, like in this batch of precons, are good. So they all warrant removal. It's not like they're going to be solely targeting Zimone every time. Although, sometimes my play group does do that because I win if they don't. So can't really blame them. But maybe they should get good. Just kidding. They're good. All right, let's keep going. The last categories I would want to look at were draw and draw engine. The difference being like these are one-time draw spells. These are engine cards that can draw repeatedly. These are decent numbers. I like for my draw plus draw engines to be around like maybe 15 to 20, maybe closer to the side of 20, especially when our commander, our commander gives us some value, right? Manifesting Dread is not exactly like drawing a card, but it's not exactly not drawing a card. It's putting a permanent face down that we're going to get to flip up later. So, once we flip it as a 2/2 vanilla creature, it doesn't have the value of a full card. I'd say maybe that's worth like half a card or a third of a card. But once we flip it, depending on what it is, then it can turn into a full card's value. So she does have, I would say she does have some built-in card advantage, but we're still going to want to have just some natural ways to draw real cards. So this is a decent number to start. I doubt I will put any emphasis on bolstering this stuff right now, unless there's something like very specific that I think is really, really good for this deck for some other reason. So draw stuff is probably fine for week 1. Okay. And then the last thing I want to look at is our curve. And I guess like land count is important too. We should not ignore that. So we have 38 land. 38 is first of all, 38 is my favorite number. Don't ask, long story. Maybe I'll tell you guys some other time if you care. But I like 38 land. I feel like it's a very good number for landfall decks. I may be biased. Scratch that. I am biased, but I still feel like 38 is a good number. So I don't think I would look to change this at all. Now, are we going to change the lands that are within this 38? Almost certainly. If anything, I might even add like 1 or 2 more. 38 is the lowest I would go in a landfall deck though. And anyone who encourages you to cut lands as you're optimizing decks, I think that is probably can be right, but just be very careful. What I would much rather see people doing is keeping more lands, but adding more draw engines so you can like draw through the extra lands and like add some sort of like looting so you can discard the extra lands. I think that's a lot safer way to go. But I'm happy with 38 land count, so I think we're good there. So let's take a look at the curve. All right, so this is a decent looking curve for a precon. I mean, like honestly, they've been doing a very good job with precons lately. They're all really well built, I would say. Of course, there are like some opportunities and some things that could be better. That's always going to be true. Like precons are built so that you can upgrade them. They want people to have these great aha moments and be like, oh, like I thought of something great I could add, and have not every single thing be already in there. And they want to sell cards. Of course they want the decks to be upgradable. But I'd say in general, like compared to a couple of years ago, precons are just so much more inherently playable than they ever have been. So if you're the kind of person who has not been interested in purchasing a precon in the past because you felt like, oh, it's just not good enough, it can't compete, things are way different now. I'd say like if you pick up a precon and just go to your local game store, assuming it's not like a very competitive one, like you could get away with playing a precon and still have a chance of winning. Of course, you're going to probably be outclassed by other more tuned decks, but I think they have a chance. In fact, like there are infinites in at least a couple of these precons I've heard. I don't quite remember what they are. I think the one in here involves a Shaya because she turns all of your creatures into lands basically, and there's some sort of infinite loop where, you know, if anyone knows what it is, please let me know in the comments, but I'm not gonna like play toward that because I don't typically like winning with infinites. I think it's a little lame. But, you know, the fact that they're building them into the precons at all just says something about the innate power level of precons and how it has increased over time. So this curve looks good. The one thing I would note right away is that we're a little heavy on fours. The very first thing I consider when looking at the curve is what is our commander cost? Because is there really a play you want to be making on turn 4 that isn't your commander? Now, the answer to that question is almost certainly yes at times. There are things that you would play over your commander. There are situations where you wouldn't play your commander, etc., etc. But in general, we always have a 4 mana card in our hand, is the way I want you to think about it, right? No matter what you draw in your opener, your commander is in your hand. So wouldn't you rather draw more 1, 2, and 3 drops, knowing that if you draw like a hand of 3, 4 drops, that's annoying when your commander costs 4, because now like, yeah, you have options, but like what are you doing on the other turns, right? So I might look to trim down our 4 drops a little, because I would like to see the slot in our curve where our commander is be a little bit lower. So trim 4 drops potentially, right? We don't have to, but like it's something to consider. Now, a single 1-drop, this I don't like. 1-drops are so important, not because they're powerful, although a lot of them are, but because they help you fill out your curve, right? You're not always going to get the perfect curve where you can play something on turn 1, turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, so on and so forth. So curve fillers, or like mana sinks, if you will, or things that allow you to slot stuff into turns where you couldn't otherwise spend all your mana, are very important to making a deck function really well and like flow smoothly. This is why if you look at my hundreds of deck lists, almost every single blue deck I play has the cards Ponder and Preordain. These are just 1 blue mana sorceries that make your early game smooth as butter. And that's the kind of card that we want that's really going to help us win games. Cards like Night's Whisper in black are like essential and critically important. They're not that good, right? It's like 2 mana, draw 2, pay 2 life. Like, okay, what's the big deal? Like I could play a better rate draw spell, right? But it's the power of being able to slot it in on a turn where you couldn't otherwise spend all your mana. Because in general, the player who spends the most mana over the course of a Magic game is going to be the player who wins. This is why fighting back against a turn 1 Soul Ring when no one else has it is such an uphill battle, because that player has 2 extra mana on turn 1. Now it's 4 extra mana cumulative on turn 2, then 6. And then God help you if they play some ramp spell, right? Like if they play Soul Ring turn 1 and then they play Skyshroud Claim turn 2, now all of a sudden they're going into their turn 3. They have 5 lands in play plus Soul Ring. They're playing a 7-drop on turn 3. And if you didn't have a Soul Ring and you didn't have a turn 2 mana rock, you're going into turn 3 with 3 mana or 4 mana. And it's just a snowball effect from there. So I think you should focus on making sure your curve looks very smooth. Like this is a good looking curve, but we want to lower the 4 drops, and this number of 1 drops is definitely insufficient. I like my curves to look something like this, starting around here with 1-drops, heading up, having 2 and 3 be the highest, and then start heading down on 4s, and then like it should be a very sharp drop like this. So let me just show you with the snipping tool, because I think this will help illustrate. Sorry. So what I like the curve to look like, and what I'm going to strive to make this curve look more like, is starting around maybe 10 1-drops, so something more like this, and 15 2s and 3s. And then in this deck, we want to kind of jump down like this, but normally you'd want a more like straight down curve like this. But in here, we want to go like something like this. You know, that's sort of what you want the curve to look like in this deck. So we, with this upgrade league, are we going to get to this kind of perfect curve or exactly how we want it? Definitely not. But like, it's just something to keep in the back of your mind. Like, this is what we're going for. So when we're considering what to cut, for example, it's really going to like help us try to figure that out too. Because like, looks, there's a lot of 8-drops. There's a lot of 7-drops. We need to cut some 4s. Like, we need to add 1s. This is all stuff that really matters, and it's going to help us figure out what to add and what to cut. Okay, so I think starting next week, so when I do the next of these videos, I'm gonna start by removing the cards that I don't want first and then figuring out what to add. But for this week, I actually want to do the ads first because there are some specific lands I really want to get in, stuff that I think is low dollar but is very important and very helpful for this deck. Stuff like Evolving Wilds and Terramorphic Expanse that I mentioned earlier, we do already have both of those, but there are a lot of other options that are similar, and those I think are the most important thing that we can add to this deck for starters, regardless of price. So like, for example, if you're upgrading this deck and you don't have any restrictions, you can add whatever you want, you can add stuff from your collection, doesn't matter. The thing I would tell you is you could leave everything in the deck the same and just add all 10. Well, you can't play all 10 fetch lands, but you can play 7 fetch lands. I'm talking about the original Onslaught fetch lands and the enemy colored ones, which I think are originally from Zendikar. So those 10 fetch lands, of which we can play 7 because the rest are off color, right? We can play everything except for the white red, the white black, and the red black fetch land. Plus, we can play Prismatic Vista, which is the basic fetch land that for 1 life, and Fabled Passage, which is the fetch land that gets us a basic, and it comes in untapped if we have 4 or more. So those are all going to be very like powerful adds for the deck because each one of those, like I mentioned earlier, allows you to trigger both of Zimone's landfalls with a single land, and that's huge. And then the next most important thing that we want to add is stuff that allows us to play extra lands every turn. If we could just play 2 lands every turn, like something like Exploration is a hugely critically important add, but it's expensive. So like I'm going to update, well, I'm going to switch over because I have all of my considerings in a different deck list. Sorry to be all over the place here, but we're going to upgrade to cheapest. I'm just going to take a quick glance. We're not going to get into this quite yet, but I just want to take a quick glance at how much Exploration is. Yeah, it's $15 at the cheapest. So this is not even an option for us yet. So I might end up adding this when I have more budget, but for now, we're going to have to look at some less expensive options. So I think in week 1, the thing that you could benefit the most from right away is just adding a bunch of other fetch lands. And I'm going to show you guys how to find those. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this because I already have the stuff I want to add down here, but I do want you all to know how to look for this sort of thing if you didn't already know. So I'm just going to go through this real fast, so feel free to rewatch and pause the videos you need. But basically there is a project called the Scryfall Tagger, and this is a crowdsourced like compendium of, oh, it says it right here, crowdsourced tag catalog for Magic the Gathering cards and illustrations. So they have art tags too, which is pretty cool. I've used this before, but we don't need that now, right? So what we want is to find like every land that looks like Terramorphic Expanse, for example, because that's a land that we want more of. So what I'm going to do is just type that in, click on one of them, doesn't matter. I'm going to look down here at these tags, right? So we've got fetch land, we've got tutor land basic, and we've got manaless land. So it looks like the one we probably want is fetch land, right? If we weren't sure, we could click on that and read what it says. Lands that sacrifice to tutor for other lands. Bingo, that's exactly what I want. So if I click on that, it's going to just show me all of the ones that exist that have been tagged this way, which is 50 different lands. Pretty good, right? But what we're instead going to do, instead of just looking through those and adding them manually, is use the built-in functionality that exists in Moxfield. By the way, I'm not sponsored by Moxfield, but I wouldn't mind to be because I love it and I use it all the time. Like I'm in Moxfield all day, every day, as some of you know. And I love that it has this kind of like API integration with EDH Rec. EDH Rec is a aggregator, so it takes like all of decks, it scrapes decks off all over the internet, and it puts together a bunch of data. So you could like pull recommendations based on who your commander is. You could add filters. You could say, I only want to see decks that are under a certain dollar amount. I only want to see decks that include this card because it's a signpost for the kind of decks I want. Or you could say, I only want to see deck lists for this commander that don't include this card. I don't like playing Thassa's Oracle, so I don't want to see any deck lists that have Thassa's Oracle because they tend to be built around that card, right? So EDH Rec is a great resource, and I would recommend you check it out if you haven't already. But the nice thing about Moxfield is they have this EDH Recs thing built in, so we'll take whatever's in your deck, and if you just click this, I'm not going to spend any time looking at this right now, but I just want you to know it's here. It's going to give you the top recommendations of what to add based on what other people, how other people have built the deck and what you already have in your deck. And this will change based on how you edit your deck. So this is amazing, and I highly recommend you check that out if you haven't already. But what we're going to do is we're going to use what we learned from the Scryfall tagger. So we learned that fetch land is what's called an O tag, aka Oracle tag. So I'm not going to go over the syntax of this. It's something that you can look up on your own, and I may make a video about later, but I'll just walk through what I'm doing. So we want to see O tag fetch land, right? And then I think what we want to do is see order. So we want it to be sorted by EDH Rec. So this is going to sort, it means like the export it's going to give us is going to be sorted by which cards are used most frequently per EDH Rec at the front and least frequently at the back. So I think this is a sufficient start. Let's just see what the results look like. And then maybe we can end up like removing or refining these filters if we need to. So the top 3 recommendations are already in the deck. So that's good, right? Next top recommendation is Misty Rainforest. And then all these other like Onslaught fetch lands, Onslaught Zendikar fetch lands, right? It's just like I was saying, all of these are the most common, the ones that we care about the most. But then like there's probably a way to add price here too. We could say like I only want to see like price, I think it's like maybe USD less than, let's say, what if we said like less than $5? Does this work? Yeah, it does, right? So this is the kind of like refinement we can do to really see only the stuff that we care about seeing, right? So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this, but play around with this advanced search function. And you can, if you don't want to learn those tags, you can just go into the advanced search and kind of do it all this way too. Okay. What I'm going to do now is we're going to switch over. So rather than doing my edits in here, I find that it's better to have them in a separate deck list. And the way I did that is I just did more, duplicate, and you could do this with any deck list. It doesn't have to be yours. You can copy someone's deck list, duplicate it, and then make it your own, right? So I went ahead and did that. So now I have a duplicate, and then I just removed all the cards from the main deck because I don't really care about those right now. I'm just looking at trying to figure out what to add. And what I want to see is the total of the main deck value, which is going to include the commander, but I don't want to remove her because then the recommendations, for example, will show cards of other colors, where if I have the commander set, it's only going to show me cards in the blue and green color identity, if that makes sense. So we're going to leave the commander set, and we're just going to remember that we can go up to $10.50 because the 50 cents doesn't count here. Okay, so let's go back to my notes and figure out like what are we looking for, right? So the main thing we're looking for is more fetch lands. And then based on these notes above, we have a good amount of ramp. Maybe we want more removal, right? More protection. Draw is probably fine. And then we want to look to trim 4 drops. Trim maybe like 6 plus drops. And then add lots of 1 drops. Okay, so these are our goals for now. So let's start off by looking at the fetch lands that I think can be the most helpful for us. So I'm going to look through just the lands that I've already added here. And I'm just going to, again, make sure we're on cheapest. And then if you don't have the prices showing up like this for you, you just go into advanced, you can add price here. Okay. And then once you've added price, I'm grouped by type right now, which has everything in creatures, instants, lands, whatever. But you could have like no grouping and then just sort by price just to see like what are the most expensive cards am I considering. So Prismatic Vista, like this is the cheapest version, $28. There's no way I'm getting this in, right? However, I don't want to remove it from my considering section. So I think what we're going to do is just move it back to the type grouping. And then we're going to ignore pretty much everything that is, I'd say, okay, so Fabled Passage is probably the most expensive card I would consider at this point since we only have $10 to work with. So really all I need to do is look through this grouping, right, to find which lands of these I would want to add. So I think Fabled Passage is an excellent card in this deck, and I might consider adding it for $3.89. I think it's going to be worth its weight in gold. So let's see if we can get that in. We're probably going to, if you guys have ever seen my videos, you probably already know, even from just watching this video, that I can be a little long-winded, and I'm working on it. I'm trying to edit myself, but I think one of the reasons that a lot of you like watching me is that I do go into a lot of detail and in depth. So deal with it. So what I might end up doing is adding more than 10, and then like we're going to try to get it to as close as 1050 as possible because we really want to squeeze every penny, right? And, as we make updates, I think this is either live or it updates every hour or something with TCG player prices. So the stuff can change. Like I have to lock it in at some point and say like, okay, screenshot it. Like I got it at under $10. But, if the prices go down later, maybe I can make some changes or whatever. So let's keep looking at what these lands are. Horizon of Progress. So I love this land. I'm a huge, huge fan of this land. And for only $3, I can't believe this is only $3. If you don't have a copy of this or several, I'd recommend picking it up because, at some point, if this doesn't get reprinted, this card is going to be worth something. This land is nuts. I love it so much. I play it in almost every deck. I would love to get it added this time. I don't know if we can afford both Fabled Passage and this, so maybe next week. But this is a high priority to get added because for 3 mana tap, we can put in another land into play, which is not a great rate, but like sometimes that's all we need to trigger a landfall. Plus, we can do it at instant speed, and being able to trigger Zimone at instant speed is very powerful. So we should not ignore that potential. So I'm going to skip these other more expensive lands because I don't think they're super critical for this time. So let's consider all of these cheaper lands as just relative to each other. So what does each one do? So Promising Vein is like a Terramorphic Expanse, but it comes in untapped. It can make a colorless mana, and then when we want to sack it, we have to pay 1 instead of nothing. I find this land to be very good. I think this is like how Terramorphic Expanse should be. If this was in every Precon instead of Terramorphic Expanse involving wilds, I would be a happy man. But like, honestly, I don't know if that's ever going to happen. This is so much better in my opinion. Yeah, it costs 1, but the fact that it can make colorless and doesn't like screw us over if we're dying for our 4th land drop so we can play our commander and then we peel, oh, it's Terramorphic Expanse off the top. Now we have to wait a whole nother turn to play our commander. Whereas something like Promising Vein, we can play our commander, and then later we can pay 1 when we have a chance and sack this. This isn't going to be in a phenomenal card, phenomenal add to the deck. Definitely going in this week. And the fact that it's only 9 cents is even better because that leaves us a lot of room to add something else nice and juicy. Hey, take a look at this, Shire Terrace. That looks kind of similar to Promising Vein. In fact, it's exactly the same. Hooray. Yes. Okay. These are the original fetch lands, in case you didn't know. These allied color lands, they're originally from, I think it's Visions? It's either Visions or Mirage. Let's see. Mirage. Maybe there are some in each. Could have sworn some were from Visions. Mirage. Maybe I'm wrong. In any case, let's just check one more. Mirage. Dang. Okay. Well, I was almost right. Yeah, so these are just like the Odyssey, or not Odyssey, Onslaught fetch lands, except that the lands that you find come in tapped instead of untapped. And you don't have to pay 1 life. Plus, these come in tapped. So, oh, no, I got it wrong. So these come in tapped, but the land you fetch comes in untapped. So people don't, I'm just going to say right now, people don't play these enough. People don't play fetch lands enough. Like, I get it, not everyone owns fetch lands, but if you were to ask me, hey Matt, and people ask me this all the time, like, what's the like one way I can bolster my collection in the most efficient and like effective way? The answer I give every single time, bar none, is get the fetch lands. The fetch lands are the best lands in Magic history. Not these ones, but the like real fetch lands, like Misty Rainforest, for example. Why is Misty Rainforest pay 1 life, sack it, search for a forest or island, put it on the battlefield, and then shuffle? Why is this so good? Well, the answer to that question is like, okay, sorry. This is good for so many reasons, it's hard to even know where to start. So, first of all, this can find a forest or island card. Now, that is different than something like Rampant Growth, which searches for a basic, or Glimpse the Core? Just want to show, I can't think of a good example except for this. Oops. Okay, so let's take a look at Glimpse the Core real quick. Oh, it's in the main deck. Okay, so just the first bullet point is what we care about here. Search your library for a basic forest card and put that card on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Compare that to Misty Rainforest, which says, search your library for a forest or island card. Notice that that word basic isn't there. Now, why does that matter, you might ask? Well, take a look at Breeding Pool. See how it says land, forest, island? You'll notice this on other lands too, stuff like Hedge Maze, these new Surveil lands. Lands that have basic types in the name mean that Misty Rainforest can get you a Breeding Pool. It can get you a Hedge Maze. And what this also means, and you know, if you're lucky enough to own a tropical island, it can get you a tropical island, because although tropical island doesn't say it in that land line there, right? It actually does down in the bottom somewhere. Oh, it's the second line. See that? Counts as both forest and islands. I don't know why they pluralized island, but not forest. And is affected by spells that affect either. And if we look at the errata, meaning errata means like they've changed the rules text of these cards, even though they haven't changed the actual cards themselves, right? But if you go into here, they took all these words and changed them to this and this, right? This is the key. Okay, so this is why fetch lands are so good, because this land, Misty Rainforest, that says search for a forest or island, can actually get us any color, right? Because what else is a forest or island? Every single dual land that exists. This can get us a Hallowed Fountain, which is a shock land that makes white or blue. It can get us a Watery Grave, which makes blue or black. It can get us a Steam Vents, which makes blue or red. You get the idea. These are untapped lands that get you any color you need for just 1 life, and the kicker is that they shuffle your deck. Why does that matter? Well, have you ever played with cards, with or against cards like Sensei's Divining Top or Scroll Rack or even Brainstorm? These are cards that let you manipulate your library in some way, right? So let's say we Scroll Rack and we take our 7 cards, we put them on top, and then we draw the 7 that are there. And we're like, thank God, the 7 cards that I had were trash. I had like 7 lands and I was so flooded. Then you crack your Misty Rainforest, boom. All of those 7 junk cards that were previously stuck on the top of your library, gone, shuffled away, right? This is the power of fetch lands. Fetch lands are the single best thing you can add to your collection. They make decks more consistent, more powerful. Everything about them is incredible. And that's the best thing you can do to help your collection. Anyway, tangent over. This tangent is now over. Stay tuned for the next one, which is probably coming up shortly. Anyway, these old fetch lands that come in tapped are still great because they're just like the better fetch lands, except that they come in tapped initially, which sucks. But these are so much better than something like Terramorphic Expanse Evolving Wilds because they can get you shock lands, they can get you surveil lands, they can get you dual lands, all those type lands. These can get them. Given that we don't have any of those in the deck yet, I'm not going to prioritize getting these lands added. If I had already added Hedge Maze and or Breeding Pool, I would be more inclined to care about adding these older fetches. But instead, I would prefer to run something like this Panorama land from what is this set? Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. That it's kind of like those other ones that we already looked at, right? It's pretty much exactly like these. In fact, these, you pay one, they can make colorless, you pay one, sack it. This can find you any basic, but we're only running 2 basics. So this does the same thing, this band panorama. You can find us a forest, plains, or island. And you might ask yourself, well, Matt, this says we can find a plains. Isn't that breaking color identity rules? No, it's not. So referencing a basic land name doesn't affect color identity. It's only mana symbols. So if this said, this wouldn't make any sense, but if it had the green mana symbol, the white mana symbol, and the blue mana symbol in the text box, then we couldn't play it in this deck. But in this case, we can, because it says plains, that doesn't matter. We just ignore that part. So this is a consideration. It's exactly like these other two, if we want even another effect like this. And, we might end up adding this one instead because it's more expensive. If we wanted to save these cheaper ones for future weeks, that could be an interesting strategy for the purposes of this particular build. So what does Field of Ruin do? This is 2 in sack, destroy non-basic land, and then each player gets to search for a basic. So this lets us search for another land. But we don't really need land destruction against precons. I don't think anyone's running any broken lands, at least not in the first week. So this is not that important. We're going to skip over it for now. Blighted Woodland. 4 in sack to search for 2 lands, put them on battlefield tap. So it's like a Myriad Landscape that comes in untapped, but it costs 4 to sack instead of 2, and it's green only. I like this one. I might add it this week. Escape Tunnel. This is just like Terramorphic Expanse Evolving Wilds, except it has this typically trivial other tap and sack ability to make a creature power 2 or less unblockable this turn, but it is strictly better than Terramorphic Expanse Evolving Wilds, so we might get it added just for that reason. Broker's Hideout. I like these lands too. These are ones you see sometimes. They kind of sack immediately. You play it, it gets sacked right away, and then it fetches a basic forest, plains, or island, and you gain a life. So it's again, these are just strictly better in a 2 or 3 color deck than Terramorphic Expanse Evolving Wilds. They do almost literally the exact same thing. The only thing that is worse about them is that you can't save them. You can't bank them. I could play an Evolving Wilds and not crack it because I want to use my landfall later. I can't do that with this. Even still, I think very good choice in terms of additions for this deck. The other benefit to adding just a bunch of land this week, which I might end up doing, is that we get to cut a bunch of these terrible lands, because I don't think there are that many terrible lands, but there are at least a couple, like Thornwood Falls, Uh, Temple of Mystery. Tangled Islet is like, it is terrible. I would cut it if I had unlimited cuts, but I might save it for now because it's a forest island, so it's fetchable, like I mentioned earlier. Like we could grab it with our Misty Rainforest, for example, that we're going to be adding with our free land. But normally, any of these comes into play tap lands, just get them out of your deck immediately. If you buy a 2-color precon, just remove all the lands that come in tap, replace them with basics, and your deck's going to be better. Period. Like, take that to the bank and do with what you will. Don't play these lands ever. These lands that come in tap gain you a life and tap for both either color, not worth it. Trust me. If you're playing like a 5-color budget deck, maybe, but like there's better choices. These lands suck. I hate lands that come into play tapped. Unless like the only exception is like, something like Hedge Maze, which I think the Surveil lands are absolutely insanely good because like they can smooth out your early draws. But I, there has to be a really good reason for me to be playing a land that comes into play tapped and gaining 1 life and making the colors of our deck when we're only playing a 2-color deck, not a good enough reason. Same thing with Quandrix Campus. This card is absolute trash. I don't understand why it even exists. This is like 100% a draft card, and I probably wouldn't even play it in a draft. Awful. Ugh. Anyway, so like how many lands do I really want to cut, I guess is the question. The answer is normally Evolving Wilds, Terramorphic Expanse would be first on the list for me to cut, but as I've mentioned a couple times, they're actually really good in this deck, so I'm not cutting them. Mosswort Bridge is good enough. This is like one of the exceptions. This is a land I will play because it's very powerful. Myriad Landscape, good. This land's fine. Okay, so this for sure we want to cut. I'm going to just put the stuff I want to cut in the sideboard for now. So 1. Oh, that was Quandrix Campus. The bounce lands I love. So the bounce lands, like I know like some people don't like them, some people do. I love these lands. They let you keep a 2-land hand and they kind of give you your 3rd land, first of all. So that's one of the great things about them. They also let you like discard a card. You could, for example, play a land turn 1, pass, play one of this turn 2, bounce your land. Now you have 8 cards in hand you have to discard. Oh, that sucks, right? Well, so many decks use the graveyard, right? So like this is an advantage. You just need to see it that way. And if you have ways to untap lands, these become extra powerful because like you play a snap, which is 2 mana, bounce a creature, untap 2 lands. All of a sudden you've gained a mana instead of breaking even. Love the bounce lands. They also let you, like if you're playing an MDFC, like one of the lands that's a spell on one side, a land on the other, they let you bounce those later for value so you can cast the spells. So I'm glad they put this in. I love this land. It's great. I would not cut it. Tangled Islet. Fuck you. Temple of Mystery. Trash. Don't play these cards. Not worth it. Unless you have Scry Synergy or something. I play 1 Temple in my Elminster deck because he likes Scry. Thorn Falls, you're out of here. Vine-Glimmer Snarl is definitely a card I'm going to cut soon. Maybe doesn't need to be cut this week, but usually this will come in untapped, right? But it's those times when it doesn't that really get me. Again, I'm going to call back the example I mentioned earlier, which is like, let's say you keep a 3-lander and you didn't draw land your first turn, you didn't draw land your second turn. Now it's like coming up on turn 4 and you're like, okay, God, I need to draw a land so I can play my commander on turn 4. You draw this and you're like, FML, right? Because guess what? When you're like trying to top deck a land, Vine-Glimmer Snarl is not the one you want to top deck. That being said, it's better than these by about a mile. So it's on my cut list, but it depends how many lands I want to add. So now I know it's either 4 or 5. So let's head back over here and say, okay, we've already got 7. Oh, Tropical Island, I would love to add you, but I think that's a little outside the budget. And then, yeah, the rest of these are fine. So we have 6. We don't have to add these all right now. We can add some in the future, but I think adding these is a high priority. I wouldn't terribly mind going up to like 39 or even 40 land, honestly. So we'll consider that. But let's just start here and see what else we care about adding. I'm going to go back to my notes. Glimpse the Core is probably not coming in this time, although it is a good card in this deck. It's something I would certainly consider adding in the future. But like Rampant Growth's better because it could get an island or a forest. So I'd rather play Rampant Growth over this. But I'd also rather play something like Three Visits, Nature's Lore, Farseek. Those are all better than those options. But it really depends what kind of budget we've got. So let's move that to considering. Let's look back at our notes. So we've got this point checked off, right? Fetch lands, we got it. Removal, protection, trim for, okay, add. We want 1-drops, we want removal, we want counters. So what I'm gonna do is switch over to my types and tags so we can look through that way. So let's take a look at removal first and see what our options are. So Slip Out the Back, as I mentioned earlier, this is both removal and protection, all in one. One of my favorite cards of all time. Get in there. March of Swirling Mist, also phenomenal. Very similar to Slip Out the Back, except it can target X creatures and you can pitch to reduce the cost. This card's crazy good. Let's get it in. Okay, so we've got a couple of pieces of protection. You know, what other removal might we consider in a deck like this? And we also want to think about like what are our opponents doing, right? So we've got Valgavoth. He is a Rakdos deck. It's a flyer, giant flyer. It's looking to hurt everyone. So, you know, we might consider life gain versus Valgavoth, right? Because we're going to be hurting from him. Then we've got Winter is a graveyard deck, right? So maybe graveyard hate. But again, like not something we necessarily care about right away. It's just something we want to keep in mind when we're considering what should we add when we have this limited budget in terms of both dollars and number of cards. And then lastly, there's the Aminatou deck. This is like very enchantment heavy. They're looking to cheat costs of enchantments, more of a control deck. So protection is good against Aminatou, but so is removal for enchantments. So enchantment removal, right? So, you know, green's got plenty of great enchantment removal. So maybe, you know, a card that's cheap, it's a 1-drop. Something that I really like is Pick Your Poison. This is from Murders at Karlov Manor. This card is so good. It's just a 3-for-1 for 1 mana. It's flexible. It lets you hit artifacts, enchantments, or creatures with flying. All of these are relevant for us, right? I think this is an excellent card to add for our first round here, potentially. And then other cheap blue or green removal spells, well, you know, the classics, right? Pongify and Rapid Hybridization, right? And then what was the last thing? Maybe counters, right? So what kind of cheap counters for blue? Like, of course, Force of Will, Force of Negation would be great, Fierce Guardianship, but we can't afford those. So let's instead look at like something like an Offer You Can't Refuse. Swan Song's probably too expensive, but it's a good option, I think. And then even the new one, which is called like the opposite of Swan Song one. What the heck is the name of it? Can't remember, but what we can do is we could say OTAG counter mana value 1 set MH3. Bingo. Strict Serenade right here. Counters an artifact, creature, or planeswalker, and they make a 2/2 bird. You know, the problem with this and Swan Song, honestly, is like 2/2 bird is a little tough for us to deal with, honestly. We don't have like a lot of flying. So, you know, maybe not. I'm going to put it in considering anyway, just so I don't have to find it again later. What is this? Generate a triggered ability of colorless spell. Interesting. You know, like, this is pretty decent option, honestly. Like, I don't know how much colorless mana we have right now, but like we're adding a bunch of colorless lands, right? This actually like wouldn't be the worst. Maybe next week, honestly, because like look at the lands we're adding potentially. Makes colorless, makes colorless, makes colorless. Doesn't make colorless. Doesn't. But, you know, the base deck already has, if we scroll down, we've already got, by default, 7 lands that can produce colorless. And this is not including the ones that I removed, which I don't think any of those do anyway. So if we add 3 more, that's 10 out of 34. I think that's reliable enough, but I think, you know, we probably have better options this week, right? And then the other 2 cards, both of again are which are 1-drops that I like just want to put in any blue deck right at the beginning is Ponder and Preordain. So this is already 16 cards. 3 plus 6 is 9 plus 5, 6 is 15. Sorry, it's counting the commander. So we've already got 15 here, and then let's update to cheapest because it's putting in my like preferred versions of these, and those are too expensive. Okay, so we're at 2738. So that's too much. Swan Song, obviously you're out. I don't think we even want you. So we have to trim another. We have to trim 5 cards, right? We've got 6 plus 5 plus 3 is 14. We have to trim 4 cards, and we have to trim $7.70. So what do we do? So let's say we saved Fabled Passage. Let's put this in the sideboard. That way it just removes it from the price. Oh, it does count the sideboard price. That's annoying. Okay, well, we can at least just minus this out manually. So what if we cut that and we cut... This is the only counter. We could add a less expensive counter than this. Obviously, we would love to have a 1-mana counter. But there are some other counters that I'm going to want to add in this deck anyway. Let's see if I have any in considering already. I have just these ones. So the 2-mana counters that I like are, in fact, let's just add them to considering right now. So one cool thing you can do on Moxfield is rather than like adding them and then moving them, you can hit the Gear Wheel thing and change where it's adding just by default. So let's just add to considering Counterspell. Classic. Very good. Arcane Denial. Negate is a good one. Sure, there's some others, but I can't think of any that are quite as good as those in general. I do like Void Slime in Simic deck, so let's put that in. It's only 15 cents. I might have to add that just because it's so sweet. Like, if you guys don't know Void Slime, I love this card. It's like all the benefit of a like standard counter, but you can also get that like sweet counter a activated or triggered ability that like just, you know, ruins someone's day when you like let them resolve their crater hoof, but let's counter that ETB just for the lulz. So this is a fun one, but I think like I don't know, I might just add it because it's fun, but I would really want to get it like less expensive one added. Like Arcane Denial is a very good choice. Is that the cheapest version? Arcane Denial, nice, $1.39. That's not bad. So what if we added that and we saved an offer you can't refuse until next time? So now we subtract 732. We're down to like 1220, something like that, and we have to cut an additional 3 cards. So we'd have to cut $1.70 with 3 cards. Wow, Pongify is $2.50? I know. Okay, so like what if we saved Preordain for next time? Sad as it makes me to say. And then we have to cut 7 plus 5 is 2 more cards. I really think adding these lands is like such a big upgrade that I don't want to ignore it. And I want to just like spend a lot of time and a lot of our deck slots on just lands because these are hugely important to the deck. I guess like before we just move past this, there's some stuff that I think is really good for this deck. In fact, if we just switch back to here and say, like, let's look at the EDH Rex again. And I know, like, this card, Paranormal Analyst, is something that we really just want to get in there fast. It's just so important, right? Look how good this is. Anytime we manifest Dread, instead of that other card going to the graveyard, it goes to our hand. So I'm glad I took a second and didn't rush into this, because, like, this is the card we want in the deck, like, now. How good is this? It's insane, right? So, like, we definitely want this. What is this? The top recommendation. Okay, it's an additional cost to cast this. Choose a creature. What? Why is this the top recommendation? Because Zimone is in the picture? Meh. This card's stupid. I mean, whatever. It's just a random fight spell, right? Like, I don't know why we need to add that. What does this room do? I wish that it showed these not sideways. We surveil 2 on that side. On that side. Manifest Dread, then put a +1. Oh. Just because it says Manifest Dread on it, like, does not seem that critical for us. This is too expensive. Oh, this card. Okay, so when it enters, we Manifest Dread, and then anytime a permanent we control enters, we search for a basic, put on the battlefield tapped. Yeah, so this is like something we just absolutely have to add this time. Same goes for this card. It's just too expensive. I can't believe this card is up to like almost $30, but c'est la vie. I wish I had bought one, but I didn't. So it goes. This is some face down synergy. Oh, this card too, Secret Plans. Whenever a permanent we control is flipped, we draw a card. Yeah, this is really good. I don't know if it's probably worth getting in this time. So, okay. So let's add at least those. Oh, and Hauntwood Shrieker too. When it attacks, we Manifest Dread. We can flip creatures for 2 mana. Yeah, this card's great. Hopefully it's not actually this expensive. Okay, so Hauntwood Shrieker, Secret Plans. Here, let's just add them now. Actually, are they in the considering? Let's not do it like this so we don't duplicate. Okay, I'm going to sort by name. Okay, so we've got Hauntwood Shrieker, Paranormal Analyst, Threats. That's an enchantment. 13 cents. Love to see it. And I think that was it, right? Oh, Secret Plans. Okay. And yeah, everything else is not as important. Okay. Actually, what does this do again? Every combo we can close a card from our hand, put a +1 count. That's pretty good, but not essential for week 1, I think. So let's just focus on, so Secret Plans was the other one. There it is. 9 cents. There we go. Okay. So now we know the must adds, I would say, let's update to cheapest. This is $3. You know, I suspect this will go down in price. It's probably just still high from like price retention, given the set's new. For that reason, I might like hold off on adding this. This is like very, very good add though. It just seems a little high right now. So I think maybe like we'll hold off on that one. So where are we at now? We're at 16 main decks. So we have to cut 6 cards and we're at $23. Okay, so let's sort it by price again. So what's so expensive now in the main? Oh, it's all of this. So we have $11.47 on the sideboard. So we're still at like $2 over, looks like. So what if we cut Pongify? Are we good now? So we've got 23.32. We're going to subtract 50 cents. And then we're going to subtract for the commander, and then we're going to subtract $13.99 for the sideboard. Okay, so we're at $8.83 then. And then we're still 5 cards over. 5 plus 6 is 11, plus 3 is 14. so confused. 1, 2, 3, 7, 9, 14. I guess we're 4 cards over. So what this means is we want to cut some cheaper stuff and add more expensive stuff because we have like, let's just get these out of here. Well, actually, let's, sorry. I'm going to screenshot these so I can just move them out of the sideboard and we can stop having the price calculated incorrectly. So let's just get these out of the sideboard. I'm just going to do bulk edit, cut these, put them in considering. Okay. So now we can see the real price. So we're at $9.33 minus 50 cents. So we have like an extra $1.20 or so to work with. And we have to like trim some other stuff. So I guess what are the like, besides the lands, what are the like cards where I feel like these are better than land? Like this for sure. This is coming in. No chance we're not bringing this in. Same with threats around every corner. Same with, I think, secret plans. Whenever we turn a permanent face up, we draw a card. The buff part is irrelevant, but like, see this card's really good. Like I'm adding it at some point, period. Like it's a beautiful draw engine. It's exactly what we want to be doing. So I think we don't need Ponder right now, right? Love Ponder though. Let's not remove Ponder yet. I don't want to compromise on like at least adding some lands. I think we can take out one of these. So like, what if we take out, what's the worst one of these? I think like we want to either remove one of the cheapest ones because we can, having cheap options later is good, or the worst one. So these are the best, I would say, because all 3 of these, because they can make untapped mana if we need. These 2 can't, right? So I think, what if we just take out the broker's hideout for now? So move that to considering. Okay, so we are at 14. I think that's including the commander, right? So we have to cut 3 more cards, but we have like money we can add. So cards that I for sure want in are Paranormal Analyst, Slip Out the Back, Secret Plans, Threats Around Every Corner. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we have 4 lands here. So that means we have 2 other cards. So let's just pop this in here. And then let's move some more stuff to considering. So like this in considering, whoops, I didn't mean considering, I meant sideboard. Let's get that back. Pick your poison, go to the sideboard. What else we want on the sideboard? Arcane Denial, Categorization, March. Did I move this to considering too? Oh, I'm so bad. On the 5. Okay. I probably forgot one, but whatever. Arcane Denial. Okay. So now let's just add these to the screenshot. There's probably a better way to do this, by the way. But, you know, this is how deck building goes. You just have to like figure it out as you go. Okay. So we've got all these cards that we're thinking about. I think there's some duplicate there, but who cares? All right, let's get them out of the sideboard now so they stop getting calculated. Get those in considering. Maybe some are going to get doubled up, but who cares? Okay, so these are the 8 cards that I think we want to add now, for sure. Okay, so like Fabled Passage was one that like I really wanted, but it was a little expensive, right? So let's get that in there. Fabled Passage, where are you? There we go. So what if we get this in there over something like Escape Tunnel, which I think is just way worse. So move that back to considering. Okay, so now we're only at 580. Wow. Okay, so we have a lot to work with. Like these are the cards I wanted to add the most, these four, and then 4 lands, right? So we have $4.50 to work with. That's pretty decent. Like, what about like something that lets us play multiple lands a turn? So like, I don't know what that tag is, but I'm gonna just look up exploration. We can't afford exploration, right? But we can afford maybe some other stuff, right? Play additional land. Okay, so let's try it. Let's go tag, play additional land, and these need to be hyphenated. So I don't know why Tagger doesn't do that for you, but so it goes. Let's do order EDH rack, and let's do USD less than, just do less than 10, just because I want to see the options. Okay, so Azusa, that's an interesting option. It's already in our considering. I probably should have just looked through the considering because I think I already like did a lot of this work, but actually, yeah. So let's just back up for a minute. Apologies that this is so scattered, but whatever. This is how I do. We're going to switch to types and tags. I'm going to look at additional land because I already have stuff in additional land. So Azusa, is this cheapest? Could we possibly jam Azusa in is a great question that we should be asking ourselves right now, because if we could, 710, that's a huge chunk of our budget, but how much, like, if we take out Fabled Passage, what else is expensive? All this stuff is like cheap, 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 right? So we're at, yeah, can we fit Azusa? This would be amazing. Like, the problem with Azusa is just like guys to removal, right? Lol. But there's a lot of threats and like they can't deal with all of them. This puts us at $9, and that means we still have 2 things we can add. We want to put a land back. We have $1.50 to work with or so. What were these options? So what if we didn't add any counters or removal? We want 2 ads, right? Ponder or pick your, can we get Ponder and pick your poison? Or not Ponder, Pongify. Oh, I was looking at Ponder. Okay, Pongify is too much. Rapid Hybrid's probably too much. Okay, so what if we add Pick Your Poison? Because I think that is a slam dunk. Removes Valgavoth, which is sick. I mean, I don't want to add a card just to counter one deck, but like everyone's playing flyers, so it's not like bad. Plus, this can hit enchantments, it can hit artifacts. It's going to be the least useful against Winter, but that's okay, even though Winter won the first week. I still think this card's just fantastic. Any point in the game, right? I mean, it gets a little worse late game because they have a lot of other options they can sacrifice and not necessarily hit the one thing you want. But okay, so we've got minus 50 cents. We've got a little over $1 to work with. Let's figure out exactly how much we have. Let's just update to cheapest one more time. Okay, so we've got 9.39 minus 50 cents. 10. We've got $1.11 exactly. Okay, and what I would like to get in is another land, I think. So what lands can we get in for $1.11? Demolition Field. Fabled Passage is never going to make it, right? Maybe we don't like Tunnel Vision on Azusa here. I don't know. This is tough. Like, it always comes down to tough decisions like this. I think, getting these three cards, the Paranormal Analyst and these two is like very good. Getting, several land is good. Slip out the back, I really want. Pick your poison, I'm not like feeling like we have to get the second. Same with the Azusa. We have a lot of like leeway with the amount of dollars we have given what we want to add. So we could add something expensive. I just want to make it worth it. Azusa definitely falls in that category. Azusa is just like fantastic. But so is like something like Oracle of Moldiah. The problem is Oracle costs 4. It's cheaper than Azusa a little bit, less expensive rather. Um, Dryad's too much, right? Dryad's a little less, but so much worse than Azusa because we don't really need the basic type part. Still a good card, but like just not in the same realm. So let's look at the tags again. See if there's something. And USD less than 10. Maybe there's something aside from Azusa that we can consider. Weirwood Swordtooth is fine. Isn't AC in this deck? Yeah, AC is in the deck. I just I have all the cards from the main deck removed. Yeah, nothing else is nearly as good. What is this? Oh, that's just a sorcery. Yeah, so I think we don't want spells necessarily, so we're gonna do minus type instant, minus type sorcery. Okay, so not too many options, honestly, like in this price range, right? If we remove this, we get a lot more, at least a few more, the really good ones like Exploration, Burgeoning. What's this do? We can play an additional forest every turn. We could set this for 2 green. That's funny. It's not a terrible option, just putting considering before I forget about it. All right, well, I want to wrap this video up. I know it's been a long time, so thank you for bearing with me here. This is just my process, and you asked for it, you got it. So what are we doing? I still don't have an answer to that. So Arcane Denial is $1.39. Does that work? That puts us a little over, right? $0.28 over. Okay. Oh, we didn't get the land in though. We wanted the land. What else is expensive? It's just Azusa, right? Okay, so what if we instead okay any of this? So I think what if we add Horizon? So that puts us over, right? Too far, way too far over. Okay, so never mind. We need to add another $1.11. And none of these lands really do it for us. We just put Escape Tunnel back. This allows us to add another, we're at 11, so another 89 cents. So we could upgrade Pick Your Poison to something. Okay, so this gives us 9.23 minus 50 cents. This gives us $1.27. What could we get for $1.27? Counterspell. Well, that's not terrible. Farseek's good. Quite good. Maybe it's just Farseek. Too bad we can't get to Nature's Lore. That would be great. $1.27. Arcane Denial's just out of reach. Sad. I don't know. Farseek's looking pretty attractive. How's this leave us? This leaves us with 29 cents to work with. We could upgrade. I mean, these are the best, but that doesn't mean we could add them next week, you know? So like, yeah, like what if we got Broker's Hideout in instead? And we'd have to cut 12 cents. Cut Blighted Woodland. And this gets us to $9.95. That's pretty hot. Can we get it perfect? I'm crazy. 17 cents. No, right? I don't know. I'm over it. Let's just go with this. I might end up changing it. We'll see if the prices come down or anything, but I'm just going to lock this in. How about that? We're locking it in week 1. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all these cards into the sideboard of the main deck. So I'm going to cut them out of here, or I'll just copy them. That way we don't lose this. Go to the main deck. Let's get out of these Recs. Go to bulk edit. I'll just drop these in the sideboard. Oh, right. These are the cards that we're going to remove. So I guess before I drop them in, let's just get these crappy things out. Considering... Actually, let's just remove these entirely. All right, now let's add our new stuff to the sideboard. Okay, let's add prices here. Boom, look at that. It's a better screenshot. That's pink. Look at that. Beautiful. All right. So we've got this. We've already cut 4 cards. They're 4 land, right? We're adding 4 lands, so we're good there. I guess let's just look at what we can cut. This should be pretty quick. There's lots of good options of what to cut. I'm going to sort by mana value. So we have to consider what we're adding, right? And what we kind of needed more of. We're low on counters. We don't want to cut that. We're low. I mean, rather than focusing on anything about like types, I just want to cut the cards that I feel like are bad. So like I'm looking at something like Sandward and Convergence. I get it. Like you're supposed to like play this face down and then flip it. It's not bad. I'm probably not going to cut it this time, but it's definitely getting cut at some point. So I want to err on, I'm going to switch to mana value. A lot of times I'll do this when I'm looking at stuff to cut, because when you're debating about what to cut, usually you want to just cut some high mana value stuff. It's going to go pretty well for you if you just do that. But one of the things we talked about cutting was 4-drops. So let's just look at the 4-drops and see if there are any that stand out. Rick Smithies is cool, and it's pretty good. So not cutting that. Signal Hierophants. 4 mana gives your guys tap to add green. This seems like awful. Let's get this out. I get it. It gives your like manifest mana dorks, but like, no, you're out. Disorienting Choice, this card's sweet. Eureka Moment is good. Explosive is good. Skitter Spike, this card is so cool, but I have no idea why it's in this deck. Yeah, we don't want this card. As much as I hate to cut it, because it's like awesome, it's does not belong in the stack, so let's get it out. Kian is the like other commander. No. Just no. As much as I love having Flash, like this is not right for the deck, and it's a 4-drop, we just don't want it. Rashmi is like... I don't know. Maybe she like dodges a bullet this time, but I just don't know about that card. Body of Knowledge. They love putting this card in precons. This card is so bad. It's actually, I guess it's better in this deck because you can surprise block with it. Because normally like no one's blocking this and letting you draw a ton of cards. So I guess we'll test that out. Oversimplify. This is a board, like weird board wipe. Guess we'll leave it for now. I don't love having Overwhelming Stampede in here. I drew it on turn 5, like the first game, and I almost killed someone, but then I ended up dying. I get it, like the deck needs finishers, but it's just a little weird. Stuff's all good. This card, like, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. What is this? Yeah, we don't need this weird, like, Alpha Strike sort of card. No. Okay, we gotta make 2 more cuts. Stuff's all good. Why? I guess because it has flashback, so we manifest dread this to the graveyard, can flash it back. Okay. It's gonna get cut, but oh, Kefnet the Mindful. This card blows. I had this in my hand and I was like, why is this in the deck? This card's garbage. See ya. Scapegoator. I'm not really into this card either. Let's just get this out. I don't like cutting these low drops, but like I'm never casting this on 3 anyway. And like I get it, you can flip it. Well, it's a 5/6 flyer that you can cast from your graveyard. If you do, you have to exile creatures from your graveyard. Maybe it's okay. We'll leave it just this week, but it's certainly coming out soon. I don't want to cut Sandworm Convergence yet. It's actually kind of nice against Valgavoth. I don't know if they have a great way to deal with it either, because it's Rakdos deck. That seems good. This is fine. One more cut. What does this card do? +1 for each land in your graveyard. Oh, land you control and land in your graveyard. You bounce lands, so like lets you play more lands again. Yeah, it seems bad, but it's good enough for this week. Maybe I cut this card. Not, although this is kind of hilarious. I at least want to like hit them with it once, and then I can cut it. Because then they'll be scared of it like forever. I think that's the plan with this card. It's like try to get it out, try to hit them with it, and then they'll be scared of every manifest. It's this guy. That's some kind of combo card. This card like sucks, but I guess it's on theme at least. It's pretty like good value for what it does. I mean, it's a 5-mana 4/4 that makes 2/2s, so that's pretty good. Okay, that card's good. I think we cut Rashmi. I'm super not into this card. Keeps catching my eye, so you're out, Rashmi. And we will get these guys into the deck. So there you have it, our week 1 video. We did our 10 upgrades, $10 max. I think this deck is much better, and let's find out and play a game. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, please like and subscribe my video and join my Discord if you haven't already. We have great community. We have really good discussion. I do like deck help for people. We talk about like spoilers and like finance, speculation, all sorts of stuff. So it's a good community. Would love to have more of you there and sharing your ideas and giving your input and stuff. But really appreciate you watching. Thank you for all of the positive feedback I've received and all of the critical stuff too. It's helped me learn, and I look forward to making some more content for you. Enjoy.
So I thought this through a little more, ended up deciding that Azusa wasn't quite worth it because getting 2 extra land drops every turn, while not unuseful, is not strictly necessary. So I thought I'd be better suited to spend that large amount of the budget on some other stuff. I ended up adding in Ramunap Excavator, allowing us to play lands from our graveyard, like Crucible of Worlds type effect for only $1.50 seems like a good value in this deck. Harrow and Entish Restoration are both instant speedways to trigger 2 landfalls on any other turn, which is very powerful. And then I swapped in a Fabled Passage for one of the less expensive lands because we had the room in the budget after removing Azusa. So these are the changes I ended up going with, and that's it. Enjoy the video. Alright, I'm gonna randomize. Zach, pick a number between 0 and 5.
Okay. I will pick 3.
2.
Ugh, 3 let me down.
You should have known. With your cutting, it's really similar,
Okay,
right?
I have warned you guys repeatedly, and yet people still give me their decks to cut.
Have you ever cut your own deck to see if it works on you?
It absolutely does.
It works. It's terrible. He's like, oh,
I'm
I'm
not
fishing and I get no lands.
I'm not exempt from this.
Mm-hmm. I'll mulligan.
Okay, I will keep.
I will keep.
Now,
Everyone kept their opener except me?
I'm keeping mine. Since I'm not there in person, you can't blame me for giving you backhands.
Yeah, I can.
You blame Victor in this case.
Alright, I'll keep. Ready when you are.
Okay. The dice.
All right. Draw, play forest, and pass.
Temple of Silence. I'll scribe. On top, and I'll pass.
Draw. It is kind of annoying. Alright, I'll do Broker's Hideout. And it'll get sacrificed, I'll gain a life, and I'll fetch a land. Pass.
Draw a card. I'll play a swamp and pass.
Okay. Command tower. And I'll play Steve. And I'll
Hey,
play
Steve.
We love to see him.
I'm going to play a Tainted Isle. I'll tap 2 for Blind Obedience.
Gross. Really? Can you set your commander?
Oh, sorry.
I'm going to crack Steve.
Okay. Also, spacebar past the turn, Victor. Throw. Play Castle Vantress. Tap to control an island. I'll pay 2 for Arcane Signet. And pass.
Tapped.
Ugh.
I'll pay 2 for a seance board. And pass.
Ooh.
Okay, I'll play Forest, pay 4 for Winter. So he's Death Touch, and then he on attack trigger he mills 3, and then Delirium, I can exile 4 and return a permanent from among those with a finality counter. All right, you're up.
Swamp. Tap 2. To cast Orzhov Signet. I'll extort.
Okay.
And you're now past turn.
Tap up, keep draw.
Hey Matt, don't forget to lose a life.
He gained
I did. I had gained 1.
Okay. Oh, that's right.
Island, cast Zimone. That's
Keep draw. I'm gonna pay 2 for a Mind Stone and pass.
oh no. I'm in trouble drawing lands in that deck, huh?
All right, play Swamp.
I thought it was a pretty good hand to
Oh.
keep. It had 4 ways to produce mana.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go to combat. And I'm gonna attack you, Matt, for 2.
What?
I got
Not-
Ishkana, Death Reap Ritual, and Ogrim Tomb.
Hey.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And I will cast. Let's see. I'll pay 2 for a Grim Player. And I will pay 2 more.
Interest tap.
Oh yeah. And then I'll pay 2 more for Ripples of Undeath.
Ooh.
And
Pretty good.
I will pass.
You don't have Delirium?
I don't yet. I have 3 permanent types.
What's the name of the spider?
Ishkana.
How spell?
It's a 3/5.
How do you spell it? What are the first few letters?
ISHK.
Okay, I'm going to play Obscurus Storefront. enter, sacrifice it. There's my library for. I'm gonna do an island, put on the battlefield, tap and shuffle and gain a life. I'll do that in a second. And I will tap 1, 2, 3. That's the monologue tax. I'll extort.
Okay.
And I will be done. Let's search for the island.
Tap, upkeep, draw.
Okay. That's pretty cool, that monologue tax.
What was that?
That monologue tax, that's a cool card.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Lotho, but way worse. I'll play Reliquary Tower and trigger Zimone, so I'll manifest Dread. Look at the top 2. One goes face down. One goes to graveyard. Main tower. I'll pay 5 for Tattoo of a Benthic Druid. And
Okay.
I will send a 3/3 Victor.
Okay.
Commander. Astro.
Okay, don't forget your creatures are tapped to his blind obedience.
Alright.
Keep your roll. What do I do? I can play that. So I'm gonna play a black and a red. I'm going to suspended sentence with 3 time counters on it. In 3 turns, I get to cast it, and I will pass.
Alright. Upkeep, I'm going to mill 3. Oh, wait, no. Precon main phase. I'm going to draw. Now I mill 3. So, Giant Ataphage, Moldgraph Millipede, and Grapple with the Past. Card in my graveyard. I think I might go for that. Okay. I'm going to pay 1 and 3 life. And I'll return the Moldgraph Millipede to my hand. It's a 5-drop. It's a 2/2. And when it enters, I mill 3. And I put a +1/+1 counter on it for each creature in my graveyard. I will play a land. And I have Delirium now. I will go to combat. Let's see. I'll say Winter will go in at Zach, and Grimflare, which is a 4/4, will go in at Victor. So attack trigger, I'm going to mill 3. I got a creature, this enchantment, that when it enters, I mill 10 cards at the beginning of my upkeep. I choose a choose a card at random in my graveyard. If that creature is a creature card, I put on the battlefield, otherwise I put it in my hand. This guy's a 5/4, and he's got Delirium. If there are 4 or more card types in my graveyard, I can look at the top card on attack, and I can either put it in my hand if it's a land, or I can put it on the battlefield if it's a land, or in my hand if it's not.
What's the name of that creature?
It's called Wickerfolk Thresher.
Thanks.
Okay, so you take, and then on damage, combat damage, I surveil 3 here. 2, 3. Okay, these can go in the graveyard. That will stay on top.
That card's pretty good.
Yeah, I thought it was okay. It's uncommon. I'm like, hey, it's not so bad.
Grim Flare?
Oh no, the Thresher. But yeah, Grim Flare.
I meant Grim Flare.
Okay, I'll pay 5 for that Millipede. So when it enters, 1, 2, 3. I have 4 creatures in my graveyard, so it gets 4 +1/+1 counters. And I I mill 3 cards first. 2 additional creatures. Oh wait, no, that's a vehicle. So 1 more, so it gets 5 counters. It's a 7/7. I'm going to go to end step. I'm going to trigger Winter. So I'm going to exile Hedge Shredder, a land, a Steve, and Grapple with the Past. And I'm going to return Hedge Shredder to the battlefield with a Finality counter. I'll pass.
Your stuff should be tapped.
You're right. Artifacts too, right?
Yeah.
Tainted Field. In step 1, 2, 3, 4. That's my commander. Extort. And then I will take life for blue. And I'll cast Ponder. Look at the top 3. 1, 2, 3. Oof. Come back in any order, eh? I'll go like this. And I'll draw a card. Pass turn.
And tap upkeep, draw. Okay, Evolving Wilds. Trigger. I'll do the draw first. So I'll gain on 1 draw from Tatiova. And then I'll do Manifestra. Okay, we'll put this face down and put a Yavimaya Elder in the graveyard. A2 for Rampant Growth. I'll put in a forest tapped. So trigger Tatiova and Zimone. Oops. Whatever. So I'll draw a card, gain a life.
and then I'll get to flip a face down permanent. I'll flip this one. It's a Terramorphic Expanse.
Okay.
Should have attacked first, but oh well. I wish I had green.
You do. It's just tapped.
Yeah.
I need
I'm
more
aware.
green.
I'll pass.
Keep nickel tick down. Draw a card. Play a Witch's Clinic. Which will actually allow me to start playing stuff now. So let's start with my commander. And I'll pass.
Okay.
Tapped.
Commanders. Yeah.
Oh, sick. Okay. I'm gonna draw. Pre-combat, I'm gonna mill 3. I got an enchantment that mills, Deathcap Cultivator, and Formless Genesis. So this card has Retrace, and I can cast it from my graveyard by discarding a land card in addition to playing its other cost.
What's going on over there?
What?
Fireworks? You can hear that pretty loud, huh? I can close my window.
Oh, I thought you meant on his board.
Oh, not
Oh,
two.
no.
Yeah, I got a neighbor who's like really into fireworks. It's fun on 4th of July, but he does it all the time. Okay. So I milled those now, and I didn't get any lands. Okay. I'm not going to return any of them. I'm going to go to combat. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. I'm not going to go to combat. Wait. This guy's got a crew to do that. Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I'm going to... I guess it's like pretty much the same. Nah, this one's a little better. I'm gonna tap my Grim Flare to crew the Head Shredder, which is a 5/5, and whenever it attacks, I may mill 2 cards. And then whenever one or more land cards put in my graveyard from the library, I can put on battlefield tap. So I'm gonna go to combat now. So Winter is gonna go at you, Zach. The Mold Grab is going towards you, Matt, and then the Head Shredder is going towards you, Victor.
Okay.
So this is 5, 7 at you, Matt, and then 2 death touch.
Attack triggers.
Attack triggers, mill 3. 1, 2, 3. I got Grisk of the Huntertide into the pit and drag to the roots. Bunch of new cards.
Head Shredder mills also, right?
Yeah, mill 2. And there's an Evolving Wilds. Comes in 10.
Hey.
Yeah. Okay. Now.
Blocks. I'll
Is
take
anybody
7.
blocking?
Nope.
Why are you beating on me?
I'm beating on everyone, I think.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Let's see how many cards here. Oh man, one. Okay, there's a lot more. Planeswalker, instant, creature, enchantment, sorcery, kindred. It's like, I think it's at 7. I will cast 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to cast Titania, Nature's Force. Oh, comes in tapped. And then I can play Forest from my graveyard. I haven't played a land yet. Oh, yes. Very good. Overgrown Tomb. And then enters, I get a 5/3 elemental token. Okay. And then I'll go to my end step. I will
Tokens tap too.
tokens down. Okay, I'm going to Solemn Land. And then I'm going to bring back Dead Bridge Chant. So this is, when it enters, I mill 10. And at the beginning of my upkeep, I choose a random card in my graveyard. If it's a creature card, I put it in the battlefield. Otherwise, I put it in my hand.
Damn, you're popping off.
It's great. I don't. Somebody stop me. And then this comes in mills 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Land. Some sorceries. A Llanowar Elf. And a Haywire Mite. That's the important things.
You done?
Yeah.
Surveil. My land. Hands over here.
We can see your cards, careful.
It's okay. I already knew what they were. I'm gonna miracle it anyway.
But I didn't.
Huh?
Never mind. Proceed.
I drew that miracle. It's the Athreos Shroud Veiled. I will
I used to have a commander deck of that.
pay 2 and extort.
Stop doing that.
Yeah, that's a good point. All right. I will put down Attakar Wastes and have 2 for Mind Stone. I'm gonna go to combat. I'm gonna swing at you, Ian, for 2.
Okay.
And I will be done after that.
Your end step, I'm gonna crack both of these. Doesn't matter. I'll respond to her trigger and crack the other one, I guess. So. Okay, I'm going to do her triggers first and then Tatiova. So I'll Manifest Dread. Put this guy face down and the forest to the graveyard. And then with my second landfall, I'll flip this card. Say threats around every corner that I proxied.
So when this enters, I manifest dread, and whenever a face down permanent I control enters, I search for a basic land, put it on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. So I manifest dread first. These two triggers still on the stack. Okay, I will put this card face down, I guess. And then I oversimplify in the graveyard. And then a face down permanent entered, so I'll search for a basic and put it on the battlefield tapped. So that's going to create 2 more triggers. Wow, that's crazy. So Zimone, that's the 3rd one, so I get to flip something. And then I'll end up drawing 3, gaining 3 from Tatio, but I'll do that last. So I'll flip this card, which is Trigon Predator. And then I will draw 3, gain 3. Okay, and that was all Victor's end step, so I'm gonna go to my turn.
Okay. How many cards are you on?
9.
Okay.
Tap, keep, draw. Interesting. Ian, what is the power and toughness of all your stuff?
Okay. Winter's a 2/5. This is a 7/7. This is a vehicle, but it's a 5/5. This is a 6/6, 5/3, and 4/4.
Okay. Not too.
Oh, I missed the trigger on this, by the way. My bad.
What?
The Athreos, my end step, I'm supposed to put a coin counter.
Oh, yeah. What do you want to pick?
Let's Tatiova. Sorry. It doesn't affect anything now anyway, so it's fine.
It's not fine. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out what to do here. This is complicated. I will play some stuff. Okay. I'll start off by playing this Fabled Passage. I will manifest Dread first. Put this face down, put a forest to the graveyard. And then I had a face down creature enter, so I'll search for a basic. This card's so good.
Yeah.
Sure, we'll get in that. Okay. Got an island, so that triggers her again. I'll flip this card, which is a Steve. And then I get to draw 2 cards and gain 2. Because 2 lands enter. Alright, I'm gonna... Is Athreos a creature?
No.
Okay. That player controls. Alright. Trigon Predator going at you, Ian, and Tatiova is going to go at you, Victor.
It's a
2/3 flying at you, Ian, and a 3/3 rounding.
Go to blocks.
Yep.
All right, I got nothing.
I'm gonna pay 1 for a blue. I'm gonna flash out Fear of Imposters. When it enters, it can counter a spell, which is not happening right now. Its controller may manifest dread, which doesn't happen either. And I will block with that.
Okay, before damage, I'm going to tap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to cast Zimone's Hypothesis. So I'm going to put a +1 counter on a creature I control, and then I'll choose odd or even, and all creatures of the chosen quality will get bounced. So I'm going to put a +1 counter onto Zimone. And then I'm choosing even. No, wait, hold on. Shit, I want to choose odd. Oh yeah, odd. I'll choose odd.
So odd creatures will get bounced or odd permanents?
Hold on a second.
Creature.
I wanted to bounce evens. But that means... Yeah, this isn't working out as well as I wanted. Most of your stuff is even, right, Ian?
Me? It's it's 1, 2, 3, 4 versus 1. 5 versus 1 because this is a token.
You know what? All right, I'm going to put a +1 counter on the Trigon Predator instead, and I'm going to bounce even, I guess. And
Okay.
I want Victor to have this thing.
This goes. Finality.
Hold on.
Graveyard, right?
Yeah, hang on a sec though. I'm not like decided yet.
Okay.
I don't want to hit Zach if I can help it. This is going to bounce Aminatou.
I mean, I only have 1 creature. It's okay.
This card is a pain in the ass to like figure out. Like plus this, then bounce odd. Bounce that. That kind of works. Okay, I'm going to put a +1 counter on Tatioba, and I'm going to bounce odd, even though. Okay. Yeah, that's what we're doing. So it's only creatures with odd power.
Okay, so that's this one. Is that resolving?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you connect, so on your damage trigger, I have the Ripples or the Dead Bridge Chant.
Or the Head Shredder.
Oh, you're right.
I'm going to pick the Ripples.
Okay.
Okay, and then odd bounces, that's this. And Steve, I guess I'll... No, I'm not going to bother. I'll let him get bounced. Okay, and then I'm going to replay Zimone. And then I'll have to discard to hand size.
Your second spell, so monologue attacks will trigger.
Yep. I feel like I could have done that like 1,000 times better. Oh well.
And Zimone is tapped.
This will get down to 1. play 4, and I'll play Spike's Corridor. And so I'll unlock that room, and when I do, I will create 3 1/1 Red Devil creature tokens. And then when they die, they deal like damage to anything.
Okay.
And so I'm swing 4/4 at you.
Your token died, right, Ian?
Isn't it even?
Token's up. Didn't I choose odd?
Chose the
It's odd.
Yeah, but
It's
the
power-
token
it's
is
power.
even.
It's
It's
power.
power. Oh, I thought
Yeah.
it was casting cost. Let me. Oh, geez. Okay.
Oh, jeez.
Sure. And then, so, I guess then this would be back in my hand too.
No, that wasn't a creature.
You're right. Oh god. Okay. All right.
I'm still swinging my commander at you, Victor.
Me. Shouldn't it have a counter? At least shouldn't it have like a bunch of counters?
No one's lost life on their
No
turn
one
yet.
lost life on their turn. I was watching too. Oh, I
But
don't
you-
have to discard. I have Reliquary Tower.
But you
Sorry.
have to lose life on your turn in order for the board game to activate.
Yeah, no one's lost life on their turn.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't take my damage.
That's it.
Okay. Untap. Beginning of my upkeep trigger. Okay, so at the beginning of my upkeep, I'm gonna. Does it matter for you guys if I just shuffle my graveyard and then I'll say someone pick 1 through X or whatever?
That's fine.
I would say just shuffle and pick the top card.
Okay, that's fine too. Oh, I don't think.
Yeah, just do old school random.
Okay. What do we got? Into the pit.
Ooh.
So this will go into my hand.
Out of the pit into the hand.
And I will draw. Okay. That's pretty cool. All right. Okay, I'm going to, let's see if I can do that. Sheet. No. Okay. I'm going to go to attacks. All right. So Titania is swinging at you, Victor. And with those devils, they deal 1 damage anywhere when they die?
Correct.
Okay. And 1, 2. I will swing Winter at you, Zach. And then, do you have an untapped creature, the manifest creature only?
Yeah.
Okay, and then Grimflayer is coming at you. So 6 at you, Victor. 2 Death Touch. 2/5 at you. And then a 4/4. He's a 4/4.
Is it 2/5?
Blocks.
Yeah, 2/5.
All right.
I took a 4. I'll be right back.
I'll just block with 1 devil.
Okay. And mill 3 on my trigger. We got a Whisper, Wind, Cloak, and then this is both these lands come in tapped because of the Hedge Shredder.
Okay, because my devil died, and I'll have you lose 1 life.
Okay.
which will then activate my commander. So
Very
get
good.
+1/+1 counter. I will draw a card. Oh
You
no!
did it.
I did the thing.
All right. And we'll just... pay 1, 2, 3. I'll pay 5 for that mold graph millipede again. So when he enters, I'm going to mill 3. Arachnogenesis, a Tainted Wood, which comes in tapped, and then a Burnished Heart. And then it gets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
I'm back.
7, 8, 9, 10 counters. So it's a 12/12. And that'll be it. I go to my end step. I'm going to trigger Winter.
So on your end step, because a creature died this turn, my seance board will gain a soul counter.
Okay. All right. There's actually not that card. I'll do a swamp. I'll do this artifact. This, oh, that card's in here. This enchantment. Or no, this rampant growth, and then let's go for it. Giant Ediphage comes in,
God.
and that's it.
Your stuff comes in tapped.
You're right.
Tap upkeep on Surveil 2.
Ooh, wait, hang on. I gotta redo something. I forgot my stuff came in tapped, so that means I would have taken the winter damage. We'll go back on top of the deck. I don't get this. I'm at 6 commander damage.
Oh man, this is tricky.
Did you take back that 1 damage, Ian?
No, I didn't take it.
No, because my Devil's Roy came in tapped.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
All right.
Does the seance board still get a counter?
No.
Let's put it like that and draw it. No miracle.
Darn, that was unfortunate.
I will 2, 4, 5, 6. Let's see. I'm gonna tap. Mm-hmm. 3. No. Let's do this 1, 2, 3. And then I will tap 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Cast Master of the Keys. For X is 6. When it enters, put 6 X counters on it, and then mill twice X, so 12. Each enchantment card in my graveyard has escape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Ugh. Okay. That sucked. I'm just, yeah, I got nothing else. I'm going to my end step. I will put a coin counter on. Your commander, Ian.
Okay.
Doesn't work with commanders though.
Oh yeah, true. Giant Ediphage.
Okay.
End step, I'm going to crack Disabled Passage. I'm going to be getting a land from threats on around the corner, so I'm just going to get both. Just get double island. One will enter tapped, one won't. Okay, so I'll manifest dread. That face down. That gets me the land, and then I get to flip something. I'll flip this Temple of the False God. And then I draw to gain 2. Okay. Tap. Keep. Draw. Two. Cartarians. Get that down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll play a Curator Beastie. It's a 6/6 with reach. Colorless creatures I control enter with 2/1 counters, and when it enters or attacks, I manifest dread. So when it enters, I will manifest dread. I'll put this card face down. Shigeki into the graveyard. And face on creature entered, so I search for a basic. Enter tapped. That's going to trigger Zimone, so I'm going to manifest dread. This card face down. And counterpart in the graveyard. This has flashback. It's create a token that's a copy of a creature I control.
How much does it cost?
7 to
Okay.
flashback. Okay, and then when this new manifest enters, I will get another basic. So That's going to trigger Zimone's second ability, and I've had 3 lands enter at this point, so I'm going to draw 3, gain 3 once this finishes. Okay, I will flip this card. It's a Sandworm Convergence. Creatures with flying cannot attack me or planeswalkers I control, and I make a 5/5 worm token on end step. Okay, and then I'm going to draw 3, gain 3. Oh, and this gets 2+1 counters because of Curator Beastie. Okay, that was a lot. You've got a giant flyer, Victor. Ian, I will send Trigon Predator at you.
Okay. That's it?
Yes.
Okay. I'll take the 2, and then you have a trigger for the Head Shredder or the Dead Bridge Chant.
Head Shredder.
Okay.
So many freaking cards. I don't even know what to do here. I will play. God. I don't think I've played a land for turn. Yeah, I'll just play land. It'll be this Myriad Landscape. Do I have to flip something? You may. I'm just not going to flip anything. And I'll pay 2 for a Simic Signet.
Is that your second spell? Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Probably.
You played the 6 mana guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just gonna pass. I have like 1,000 cards in hand and I have no idea what to do. I'll make a 5/5 on end step.
Okay, I have upkeep. My suspended sentence will activate. I will choose to destroy. I'll destroy that Sandworm.
This?
No, the one that's creating it.
Oh, it's an enchantment.
Oh, it's an enchantment? Okay. I will destroy. Oh, I'm not even know what to pick. I'll destroy Ian's commander.
Okay. Alright, that's fine.
Okay. And then gets resuspended with 3 more time counters on it. Play a Temple of the False Gods. I'll pay 4 and I'll pay Cardor Doom Scourge.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Don't like that.
I'm gonna make everyone's problem. Except for me. I will pass turn because a creature dying his turn, Seance Ford will get 1 soul counter, and I will pass.
Okay, so
Go to guys tapped.
okay. At your end step, I'm going to cast Harrow. I'm going to sacrifice a forest.
Harrow.
And then make 2 5/3s. Okay. All right. This guy's 9 at the beginning of my upkeep. All right. That's Arachnogenesis goes to my hand.
Ew.
All right, and then draw for turn. Okay. What does this actually say?
You drew the Temple of the False God again?
Sure did.
That sucks.
The good Lord has blessed me with his radiance.
Yeah, well, that's what you get for worshipping the false gods. If you had Temple of the True God,
They didn't tell me this in God school.
I feel like that's the first thing they say.
Okay. I guess I'll pay 2 here, and I'll play Polluted Cistern. So this is a 2-cost enchantment side, and whenever 1 or more cards are put into the graveyard from my library, each opponent loses 1 life for each card type among those cards. Ow. I'll go to combat. So all my guys got to attack, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Just not me.
Is that guy with 6 counters? What's it? He's a 3/3 stock?
Yep. So 9/9 right now.
Let's see. Okay. So this one, Zach. Okay. So these 5/3s and this 12/12, not trample, is coming at you, Victor. Then the Grimflare and Tatiana's going at you, Matt. And the giant Adaphage is coming at you, Zach.
Nothing can swing at me.
Can't attack Zach.
Oh, it can't swing at you. Okay, my bad. The Adaphage will go at Matt.
No response.
No blocks, or
No responses. If you want to respond or do any.
not past priority. We can move to blocks.
I'll block your 12/12 with Atrios and one of your 5 threes.
Okay.
The Master of Keys.
And the other one's going through?
Yep.
Okay, so these will trade. Or this will
Trade?
die, I mean. This will die.
You declaring blockers, Matt?
He's doing his box. He's thinking about it.
I'm gonna pay 3. Well, yeah, I guess that's fine. We could declare blocks. So what's that mean? 4/4, 6 something, and 7/7 trample.
6/6, 7/7 trample.
The 7/7 makes a copy when it lands.
Deals combat damage. Yeah.
Okay, so if any amount hits, you get a copy.
Right.
Hmm.
And if you kill it, Victor gets it, right?
Yeah, same with Tattoo.
Killer exile.
Okay. Is the 6 power creature have trample?
No.
Does the 6 power creature have trample? Okay, I will put this manifest in front of it.
Okay.
And then before damage, I'm gonna pay 3. I'll channel this Raider Tanuki. Discard it, search for a basic land, put on the battlefield tapped.
Okay.
Get this basic. That's gonna make me manifest dread. Discard, face down, put this in the graveyards. Aether Gale. Switch face up. Okay. Yeah, nothing else. I'm gonna get another basic. I'm gonna end up drawing 2 and gaining 2 off tattoo.
Okay. So I have a damage trigger then on the Grim Flare. And you're taking the 7 from the out of edge? And no, just the 7
Yeah.
before? Okay.
I'm flipping this thing. It doesn't matter right now, but it's a glitch interpreter.
Okay, so before the damage trigger happens, you only have 1 creature die? Like one of your
no
attacking
damage,
creatures
right?
Huh?
Damage hasn't happened yet, so nothing's dead.
Okay. I thought we were going past that point.
Well, you said.
Yeah, like
Yeah, we're going
you said
damage,
before
right?
damage, and then I was going to do
I said
damage trigger.
Was it before the damage trigger? While the damage trigger is happening.
Okay.
Because I just need to know how many attacking creatures died. It's just 1, right?
Just 1.
Okay. So you guys will each lose a life, and I'll gain a life.
Okay. So the Grim trigger will resolve. I'm going to surveil 3.
And then, Ian, because you lost life on your turn, my commander will activate.
Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Do I want this to be like?
So I'm taking 11. Is that right?
Yes.
6. Okay.
I'm going to leave 1 card on top, and then Bajuka Bog and Night's Whisper are going to the graveyard. So that's 2 damage to each of you. Okay. And I'm going to 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. Let me do this properly. I'm going to play a forest from my graveyard. This works, right? This guy's a forest. Yeah, Dryad Arbor. Okay. Which makes it 5/3. And then I'm going to pay another 6 to cast Winter. And I will move to end step.
On your end step, Stance board will gain another soul counter because something died.
Okay. I will put, let's see. Just Mind Stone, instant. This swamp and Ishkana is the creature I'm bringing back. So I have Delirium. So I'm going to create 3 1/2 green spider tokens with reach, and it's got reach itself. And then I can pay 7 to make you all lose 1 life for each spider I control. And that'll be it. I'll pass.
Tapped.
You're right.
All right.
Save us, Victor.
I'm trying. Upkeep. I'll surveil. Well, not really helping you guys. I'll put this in the graveyard and I'll put this on top. And then I'll draw it. It's a sphere of safety. And we'll pay 1 to cast it. And I will exert.
Number of enchantments you can draw. How many enchantments do you have?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
So you guys all took 1 life?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh man. Okay. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wow. I'm gonna use Master of the Keys ability to cast 1 with the multiverse from my graveyard. This escape cost, exiling 3 other cards. 1, 2, 3. And tapping 1 treasure. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ugh, that's a lot. Okay. 1 with the multiverse. I'm gonna look at the top card of my library anytime. I play lands and cast spells, and then once during each of my turns, I'm gonna cast a spell from my hand or the top of my library without paying its mana cost. I'm going to cast the top card of my library. It's a Johnny's Chosen. Whenever an enchantment enters the battlefield under my control, I put 2/2 white cat creature token onto the battlefield. I'm gonna look at the top card. What is this? Oh, that would have been better. All right, I guess I gotta enter combat. I'll send I'll send my commander and the Master of Keys to Ian, and I'll send Athreos to Matt.
Okay.
Cast an Entish Restoration, like a Harrow, basically. I'm going to sack a land, sack this Myriad Landscape, and then I search for up to 2 basic lands, but it's going to be 3. I only have 1 left in my deck, I think.
Jesus.
So I'm just going to get 1, because that's all I can get. And then I will Manifest Dread. We can almost certainly go to blocks. I don't think I have anything.
Okay. I have no blocks. How big is your commander? 2 or
2? Yeah, 2.
Okay. All right. I'm going to take it.
How big is Athreos?
4. 4/7.
I will take it.
And that's all I get. Last turn.
Alright. And he's got the fucking Arachnogenesis. Ugh. This is not a good spot. Tap up, keep, draw.
Who's got Arachnogenesis?
Ian. He
Where?
returned it to his hand from Deadbridge Chant. Yeah. How many enchantments do you have, Victor?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Oh, I'm supposed to draw a game 1. That doesn't help. Play land. I will Manifest Dread. Oh, man. Actually. So. Face down, put a Beanstalk Giant to the graveyard. Oh, and I'll draw a card, gain a life. Man, these cards are all useless.
Tell me about it.
None of this land fetch stuff works because all my basics are gone. Wah.
Need more basics.
I know. There's 18 in the deck, but this card's just too good. Alright, fuck it. We're doing something cool, at least, before I die. Oh, I need to have another landfall somehow. Is that possible? Okay. So it's overly complicated, but I think it's the only way I can do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'll play Eudora Gravegardener. When a non-token creature I control dies, I can return to the battlefield face down as a forest land. Doesn't trigger anything. Okay, I'm gonna play Steve. I'm gonna sack Steve. I don't have any basics, but he's gonna return as a face down forest. And that triggers Zimone's second ability, so I'm gonna flip this card. Primordial Mist. So it says, at the beginning of my end step, I can manifest the top card of my library, and I can exile face down permanent I control and play that card this turn. So I'm going to exile this card. It's an Azuri's Predation. And then I'm going to cast Azuri's Predation. 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. If it resolves, I'm going to make a 4/4 that attacks every creature on the battlefield that isn't mine.
Yeah, I have 11 creatures.
1, 2, 3,
I have 5.
Okay.
I have no responses to it.
Okay. So I guess just tell me
What's
how many of
actually
mine
dying?
are dying. Well, hold on. Sorry. So first of all, the total was how many?
I
1, 2,
I
3,
have
4, 11. Zach, you have 4?
I have 5.
5.
I
Okay.
have 4.
Okay. So that's
5,
20.
20.
And then how many of my 4/4s will die?
Okay.
Um, 1 for me.
2 for me.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 from me. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Okay, so that's 10 are dying. So I'll make 10 that are tapped. And then you guys can resolve whatever deaths you have.
My 3 double triggers will go to you, Matt.
What?
This dies.
No, I'm
killed
not.
them.
But
That's good. Okay, that's good.
And then, since you're losing life on your turn, my command will activate.
sorry, how much did I take? 3?
3.
You could still do 1 to me and kill like Winter, for example. Just saying. Sticking with 3 to me?
I don't think I'm living past this turn.
Why not? I have to attack anyone that isn't you.
Oh, that effect.
You're gonna win the game.
That effect still lingers.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an ETB, so it says until your next turn or something like that.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm
Still hitting me for 3?
No, I'm
I'll
not going
take
to
it. Sorry, what did you say?
Yeah, you're going to or not going to?
I'm not going to.
Okay.
I'm going to stick with my guns.
Heard.
Remember my motto: if I can get damage on Matt, I will.
Sorry, how many enchantments do you have again, Victor?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 still.
7?
6.
6. Oh. Whatever. I will attack you with everything, Ian.
I will cast Arachnogenesis.
On attack, I manifest dread. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 creatures.
Okay.
Wait, you know what you can do?
Wait, what?
Couldn't you attack me and then not pay, satisfying the Kadar's requirement?
No, you have to. It doesn't work that way.
Why
You
not?
can't cheat it. I don't remember, but I know it doesn't. Sorry. I don't have a better answer, but you can look it up. It's something complicated.
Yeah, I thought it did work that way because you're satisfying its requirement to attack.
No, you have to like when there's a propaganda or some such thing, like you have to attack someone if you can.
Yeah,
Like if I had no mana and you were the only person I could attack potentially, then I wouldn't have to attack. I actually think that I might be able to attack Zach in that case. I remember hearing a video about it a long time ago, but I think in no case can it work the way you're suggesting. But there's lots of weird stuff.
I thought it would work that way though. Yeah, I just watched the Command Zone episode about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a recent Command Zone about this.
Yeah, that's where I heard it too.
Yeah,
it wasn't that recent, but it was like 3 months ago, maybe.
I feel like it was more recent than that.
Oh, okay.
Because it was like you still can, even if you have like a propaganda or whatever the other one is, you can attack into a person and then choose not to pay, and then you still have to go back and choose a different person to attack. But because you tried to attack somebody, satisfying Carter's thing ability, I don't know. It's fine.
I'm asking in the judge chat just to be sure, but I don't know how long it will take. So
no, don't worry about it. It's fine.
I want to know though. I'm not. I'll just pass, or I have to manifest red once from attack, and then.
I missed this. So my 2 elementals died, so I can mill 3 for each.
Oh, you also can block. Oh no, your guys are coming tapped, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's the first 3. So enchantment, sorcery, artifact, creature, you all take 4. And then here's the second 3, artifact, land. So take 2 more.
Taking 6?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm done.
All right. And then I get another counter on my Seance board. Untap, upkeep. My suspended sentence goes down 1. I have lands to play now. So I will pay 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna play a Spiteful Visions. So everyone's gonna draw an extra card during their draw phase. And then every time you draw a card, it deals 1 damage to you.
Okay.
And then I'll tap my stance board for 3 red, 4 red. I'll unlock the Torture Pit. So if a source would deal non-combat damage to you, it deals that much damage plus 2.
Oh, you're helping Ian.
It's literally the only thing I can do.
You don't have to do that.
Either that or I'm passing turn.
Does unlocking a room count as casting a spell?
No.
No. Okay, are you finished then?
I am done.
I'm reading Cardor's rules text.
I'm gonna crack evolving.
And it's like, if there's a cost associated with having it attack, its controller isn't forced to pay that cost, so the creature doesn't have to attack in that case either.
But that doesn't say anything about there being an alternate target, right?
Well, to me, that says you can attack into me and then not pay, and then it just back up, and you've already satisfied Carter's ability.
Okay, I have no more force.
I don't know. It was very weird. That part of the video was very confusing.
All right, untap.
God, this deck is such a headache to play.
I agree.
All right, upkeep. And Bajuka Bog.
Target yourself?
Nah. I'll draw a card.
And then you'll draw a second card.
Second card and take 3, right?
You're going to take 6 damage.
6? I thought it was additional 2. Why is it 6?
It's every time you draw a card, you take 1 damage.
Oh,
And
okay.
it's that damage plus an additional 2.
I see what you're saying.
Whoa.
Okay, so 6. Ouch.
Yeah. And then
6.
my commander will kick up 1, I'll draw a card.
All right. Is it any instance of damage or non-combat damage?
Any instance of loss of life. Or your first instance of loss of life on your turn, so it will not activate again.
No, it's he's talking about torture pit. It's damage only.
It's non-combat damage.
Okay.
They answered the judges. They said no, either you pay to attack the player with propaganda or you must attack a different player. That's the answer that I had heard on the command zone as well.
Okay.
All right. Well, I'll go to combat. All right. Matt, none of your creatures are untapped, and Victor, none of your creatures are untapped, right?
Yep.
Okay. And how you have like 7 cards, right, Matt, in your hand?
Is that a joke?
No, how many do you have?
I don't know.
Military tower.
Do you have a calculator?
I didn't. Yeah.
Look at my library.
Mine's pretty thin too. Okay.
I actually don't have that many. I have 15.
Oh,
No,
my God.
14.
Okay. Well,
None of them do anything, though.
so this 12/12 is going to come at you then, Matt. How big is your commander, Zach?
But I'm at 12.
So 7/7.
Okay. And I have to pay. How many enchantments do you have, Victor?
6.
Okay. Okay. So autophage going there. So these two are going at you, Matt. Winter and the 12/12. And then these two, actually maybe not. These 3 are going at you, Zach. It's a 6/6, a 7/7 with trample, and a 3/5 with reach.
I will block the 6/6.
Okay. So you take 10. And well, what are you doing, Matt? Are you have interaction?
No.
Okay, I mill
I will
3.
block with my face.
So there's an enchantment creature, instant creature. So you guys take 3 damage, and then that's damage. Or no, they're individual instances of loss of life, so it doesn't help me on that.
So we take just 3?
Yeah, 3. Okay, so this will die in combat. So I had 1 creature die.
Zach, what's the name of your room?
Huh?
What's the name of your room card?
It's Spike's Corridor and Torture Pit.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna pay.
Combo begins, ruins another game.
I'm gonna pay 3.
Should ban that stupid card.
I'm going to play Deluge of Doom. So all creatures get -X/-X, where X is the number of card types in my graveyard, which is 8. Okay, and then when does what's his face triggers it, like the coin thing? Is it at an end of turn trigger, or is it when it goes?
When it dies.
Okay, so you will get the Ediphage now. More is all
Does
gone.
it die though when it comes back?
Does it die when it comes back? Well, so when it dies, your thing says exiled or dead, right? So even if it gets exiled from the finality count,
Yeah, you get it regardless. Yeah.
I was just curious if because you played that card, which -X/-X for to all creatures on the turn, does it affect that coming back?
Oh no, no, it wouldn't kill that thing coming back.
Okay.
Okay. And now I will cast 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops, I meant to do this one. I wanted to play. All right, so I'm going to unlock the dim oubliette, and when I unlock that, I mill 3 cards and then return a creature from my graveyard to the battlefield. So 1, 2, 3. That's artifact, creature, land. You guys take 3. This is going to come in its Vile Mutilator. So if I cast it, I have to sacrifice a creature, but I didn't cast it, so it's Flying Trample, and when it enters, each opponent sacrifices a non-token enchantment, then sacrifices a non-token creature.
Guess I'll sack Spiteful Visions.
This guy and Monologue Tax hasn't been doing anything.
Okay. And now I will pay 4 for Rise of the Witch King. So each player sacrifices a creature. If you sacrifice a creature in this way, I may return a permanent from my graveyard to the battlefield.
And you're not having.
Sweet. The card's cool.
And I'm going to return. I guess I'll return the Vile Mutilator back. So each you sacrifice an enchantment and a creature, but just an enchantment, I guess. And that's it.
Wait, didn't you have to sacrifice something too?
I did. I sacrificed the Vile Mutilator, and then it says, each player sacrifices a creature, and then it says, if I sacrifice a creature in this way, I may return another permanent from my graveyard to the battlefield.
So he's probably back.
Yeah, another permanent is not. Does that mean anything other than the one you just sacrificed, or how does that work?
I mean, I would think it means like.
It's a question?
Maybe. Okay, so that is a good question. So this Rise of the Witch King, right? I sacrificed a creature. Can I bring back the same creature I sacrificed with it?
No, it says another permanent.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, so you get your enchantment back.
But you could if it didn't say another.
I see. Okay, I'm gonna bring back Ishkanal. And I will get 3 reach tokens, and that'll be it.
Didn't Ishkana have a finality counter on it?
Oh fuck, you're right. Dude, I've been fucking this up. Okay, that's exile.
Cheater!
Get him, Victor.
Oh, this one did too. Adaphage had one too, right?
That's a game loss.
I think
Yeah.
Adaphage had one too.
I'm just asking questions. I don't know.
No, it's fine. I'm like not used to it either. And I like scoop them all up and just put them there, so my bad. Okay. I'm going to return Demolisher Spawn. It's a 7/7 haste trample, and it on attack. If there are 4 or more types, each of my creatures get +4/+4 until end turn.
Yeah.
Now it's your turn.
Okay. Untap. Upkeep. Nothing. So I draw 2.
Not anymore. It's gone.
I draw 1. Look at the top card. I'll play the land on the top of my deck. Look at the top card. Yeah. I don't know. I don't really have anything here. All right, I'm going to use this ability, cast a spell from my hand without paying its mana cost. I'm going to cast Locker Room. It's just whenever one or more creatures I control deal combat damage to a player, draw a card. I'm going to extort.
Okay.
2. And then I will unlock the other room. When I unlock this door, return it to 1 target creature to his owner's hand. Ian, I'll push your creature to your hand.
Okay.
Then I will 1, 2, 3. I'll cast Dusty Parlor. Yep. Whenever I cast an enchantment spell, put a number of 1/1 counters equal to that spell's mana value on up to 1 target creature. And I will extort.
Okay.
And that's, yeah, it's going to be it for me. Pass the turn.
Interesting. Do not think I would survive.
Me neither.
Okay, let's play a mountain. Opponent's lost like this turn. I don't think. There's no way I can make anyone lose life. Ugh. I tap this temple, playing Arcane Signet. Something died that turn. So I'll pay this 1 red. I'll get 4 other reds from the Seance board. I'll play a Brash Taunter. Actually, no one has any creatures out. There's really nothing else I can do. Play my commander again. This is so unfortunate. Yeah, guess I just play out my commander again. Pass.
Oh, yikes. Okay. All right. Upkeep. An arcane signet to my hand. Okay. And I draw. Okay. All right. Oh, this is upside down. So I'm going to start. I'm going to pay 3 here. I'm going to play Into the Pit. So I may look at the top card of my library at any time, and I may cast cards from the top of my library by sacrificing a non-land permanent in addition to paying its mana or its other costs, whatever. So look at this. All right, it's cool. All right, I'm going to play Stitcher Supplier, mill 3. So we have enchantment, artifact, creature, land. So 4.
We take 4?
Yep. I lose. Look at this. Okay. Okay, I will. Let's see, that's what I need there. 6. And how much does this cost? Three. Okay. Okay, 6 for winter.
In response, set this 1, 2, 3. You cast Fear Imposters. I'm gonna flash it in, counter target spell, and then you manifest Dread. And then I'm going to extort.
Okay. And I lose 1. And how big is that creature?
3/2.
And he's not flying or anything? Or is he?
No.
Okay. All right. I'll play this land, and then I will pay 3, or Yeah, I guess that's how it works. I'll discard the Jukabog to retrace Formless Genesis. So it creates an XX shapeshifter creature token with Changeling and Death Touch where X number of lands on your graveyard. It's a 9. Makes a 9/9. And yep, I think that's it. Actually, yep, I'm tapped out. All right, that's it.
Sure. Oh man, look at the top card. All right, I'm going to pay 1 to cast Brainstorm off the top. I'm going to extort. I'm going to draw 3. 1, 2, 3. Put 2 cards from my hand onto my library in any order. This is dumb. Let's see. I will put these 2 on top. Right. I will tap 1, 2 to cast Azorius Signet on the top.
Okay.
Extort. Look at the top card. Yeah, I forgot. I'll play Command Tower from the top. Look at the top. Ugh. Great. All right. Let me. Yeah. I'll pay 1 to land cycle this card. Search my library for a basic land card. Put it into my hand and shuffle. Do a plains. Put this to my hand. Look at the top. Oh, come on.
Come on, you got it, right?
I'm so close. No way of shuffling, or do I? Oh no! I had a Mind Stone. Just tapped it on accident. Okay.
No, now we're this close.
This is crazy. It's so crazy. What does this do? Enchantments in addition. Great. This is nuts. Do I have enough to cast her? Let's see. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope, I don't even have enough to cast it. God, this sucks. All right, I guess I will just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'll unlock the other room. Non-land permanents I control and permanent spells I control are enchantments in addition to their other types.
Okay, so that brings your enchantment count to
1, 2,
9?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep.
Okay.
I don't have anything else to do. I'm gonna pass the turn.
All right. Untap. Upkeep.
Man. Did you manifest dread?
Was I supposed to?
Yeah, from this.
Oh, from which card? Okay,
My
so it would have
counter?
been. Okay, I'll just pull one off the top there. Is that fine?
That's fine.
Okay.
No, you gotta look at 2.
And that was the card. Oh, sorry. My bad. Yeah, I guess it's still that one. Okay. And then the other one goes in the graveyard?
Yeah.
Okay. The card I revealed back to my hand was Temple of Melody. Okay. Draw for turn. That's there. Okay. I will first start with casting this card off the top. It's Nyx Weaver. And I sacrifice Stitcher Supplier to do that. And then I mill 3. So we got enchantment, creature, so you take 2. And so I have to pay 9 for that jazz, huh? Okay.
Stepped.
Yeah. So these can attack, kind of.
Oof, 1 creature.
What's this one?
The Varnished Heart.
Oh, I don't know what it is.
What's this card?
And it's I have to pay 9 to attack you with each creature.
Yeah.
Okay. That's not really happening that much. Okay. I guess I have to do it this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to cast Winter. And I have no attacks. I'm going to go to end step. What's that?
Winter is tapped. Blind Obedience. All-Star.
Okay. Creature, artifact, enchantment, land. All right, I'm gonna bring Haywarmite in.
Wow. You had that in your graveyard?
Yes.
So why didn't you exile your spider to get the Haywarmite to exile my Spear of Safety?
I was trying to get it, and then it was last turn that I was trying to get it, you countered Winter. And that was my only way to get anything out of the graveyard.
No, your spider can exile. You exile the spider for 3 and bring back Haywarmite right now, and then pay 1 to sacrifice it to exile this, and then you attack with all your creatures.
Oh. Yeah, I made a mistake. I didn't even read the second part of that card. You just kill me now, right? Okay. I think that's it, right?
If I can cast a spell or something. 2 spells. I need 2 spells.
I was really distracted because I think I shuffled my library and my graveyard together. So like it's a little fucked up over there.
All right, I'm going to play a land from the top. What is this? Yeah, I'm gonna cast Crammed Vents from the top. Now extort. And when I unlock it, 6 damage to target creature an opponent controls, and I gain life equal to the excess damage. I'll do it to your
Hermite.
Hainware.
No, he's gonna gain 2.
Okay, it's exiled actually. And I gain 2.
Wait, why is it exile?
Because it had a finality counter, I just didn't put it on there.
Oh, you don't gain 2 then.
Well,
Yeah, because it exiled it.
It doesn't die. It's a replacement effect.
Oh.
Actually, I mean, what I'll do instead is because you technically can tap your Shire, whatever, Harbor, do it and get rid of my whatever you want. If you want to do it that way. So.
Oh yeah, you should probably have done that before its turn.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll do that then, and I'll destroy the circle of protection or whatever it is.
No, destroy the.
Destroy something else.
I'm not playing. I'm dead.
Yeah,
Corpses can't talk.
And then the hammer might is exiled, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you still don't gain the life.
Yeah, you don't get the life because it's exiled.
Okay then. Oh, I see why now. It's like a bunch of mistakes here at the end. It's really fun.
Magic's hard.
Yeah.
Magic is hard.
Yeah, I have enough to do this now. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Guess fear of sleep paralysis. Now extort it.
Oh.
Oh.
Good game.
Yeah, I think he was trying to tell you to destroy this probably.
Yeah,
Or the blind
I should have done
obedience.
a million different things, but like my whole turn was messed up because I'm looking at my graveyard and it like is different from what it used to be. I'm like, oh my god, what happened? That's fine.
That was fun.
Yeah.
Ugh. I don't like these rooms.
You don't like